right, guys, welcome back. Welcome to the Ready, Set, Blow podcast, episode 86 for Wednesday, June 20th, 2018. I fucking nailed it. Boom. Rarely do I get that right, Hannah.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
I know. We got a special guest. We have Hannah Widener here with us, the one and the only. Our third female guest. There was way too much fucking meat on this podcast. We need some women on the podcast.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. Way too many dudes. Way too many dudes, in my opinion.
I looked at your eyes and I thought about right away a Kabasi sausage.
I know, right?
I don't know why.
Fucking the sausage fest. No, we just had Dave Russo on. Now we did a little sports talk on that. So I was like, all right, let's mix it up. Let's mix it the fuck up.
Yeah.
What's with the lack of ladies?
We haven't had many guests, period, frankly.
Okay.
The first year we had 60 episodes, and I think 5 of them had guests. Second year we have a lot more guests. So we've had.
They'll be like, but why not? You sexist piece of shit.
Our very first guest was Sam J. Our very first guest was Sam J. It was a black lesbian woman. So I don't think you get more demographics than that, you know.
Yeah, that alone let us settle on for 25 podcasts.
Exactly. That met our quota for a year and a half. So now we're trying to catch back up.
Now you have like a 24-year-old white chick sitting here like,
I know.
Nah, we good. We good. What's going on, Hannah?
I know. What's going on with you, girl?
Much, just packing up, getting ready to go.
I know, that's the big news. The big reveal is Hannah's leaving Boston. Wah, wah, wah.
Yes,
so
I'm
sad
sure
to see
you're
you
so
go.
sad.
No, I'm sure we'll see plenty of you down there. We're down there fucking once a month anyway. But
Yeah. The Big Apple, huh?
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited.
So I was asking you before. So you're not just going up down there for comedy. You actually got like a legitimate job.
Yeah, so I got a job at Sirius XM on a Pete Dominic show.
Look at that.
I'm excited to talk comedy and politics with them and get
You were
that
saying
going.
you're not deep into the politics.
I am. I mean, I am at work though right now at the news station, so it's.
Oh, that's right. She works down the street from me at that. Was it Channel 2?
7. Yeah.
Channel 7. I don't know what the channels are. Is it CBS? CBS affiliate?
Nope. All right.
NBC affiliate?
Nope. No affiliate.
Fucking
She
Fox?
just said not to name fucking names, bro.
What's that affiliate again? Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you're leaving. You're not staying there.
Yeah, exit interview. Is the exit interview? Is the exit interview ready?
I'd like to have a good recommendation for whatever job comes next.
Yeah, that's trash.
He really thinks this is the exit interview, so he's like, fuck it.
She works for Ron Burgundy over at Channel 2 News.
Jesus.
No, but you actually, like we were talking about this before. You went to school for journalism. I thought you were like, because I completely forgot you went to school in Alabama too. She went all the way down to the University of Alabama, dude. Really? From here, yeah.
Yeah.
You went to Alabama?
I did.
The University of Alabama?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's what I said. What the fuck did you go down there for?
Okay. I don't know.
They had a good journalism program, and like they were definitely cheaper than a lot of schools up here if I had wanted to do journalism, to be quite honest.
Oh, cheaper? So it was financially?
How were the parties?
They were good.
That's what I want to know about. Like, was it just mayhem down there?
It was a lot of fun. It got old towards the end, but it was a lot of fun in the beginning, especially since I came from a very small town and was a huge like theater nerd, musical nerd.
Where are you from originally?
New Hampshire. So I'm from
New Hampshire, okay.
Yeah, tiny town in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. Both my parents worked for the police, so I never really did anything in high school.
All right.
I was a goody two shoes. I was like, oh man. I was like, after party for the musical. Let's go kill it.
Oh my god.
I was a big old nerd.
Were you like Fiddler on the Roof and shit? What were you doing? Like, what roles did you
Grease, play? Like, all that stuff. Oh, yeah, all that stuff.
What role did you have in Grease?
I played the important part of the ensemble and the chorus in the back.
Can you sing and all that?
Yeah, I can. I was a big
nerd.
I
didn't know this. I didn't know you had like actual talent.
Fuck you. Yeah, I did choral all-state, jazz all-state. Yeah.
Cool.
That's how I competed.
Can you play an instrument too?
I used to play the flute. If you ask me to play it now, I definitely
You do look like a flute person.
Do I?
No, you do. Like,
what's a flute person? They have, like skinny lips or something?
No, it's just like...
Skinny lips.
I don't know. You know how they have that weird lip face to blow in that shit? You know what I'm saying? How they have to like purse their lips in that weird way to blow into the flute?
I was more thinking of it because of her...
the fingers?
The metacarpals. The metacarpals.
Metatarsals. Metatarsals. I think metatarsals are the bones in your hand.
I think they're metacarpals.
I mean, neither of us are doctors. This is the fucking Ready, Set, Blow podcast. This is not the Dr. Oz podcast with two fucking morons right here.
The thing is, it doesn't surprise me that that Hannah has like all these unique particular stories or talents because she's like pretty much like very reserved when we see her for the most part.
Oh, you think she's hiding it? You think she's hiding
I think she does.
You think I'm reserved when you see me?
I mean, I mean, you don't.
I guess.
You're not like getting drunk, getting into trouble.
No, I don't do that. Not at shows, anyway.
Not at shows, anyway.
Yeah,
right.
I want to be able to enjoy drinking still. That's what I mean.
That's the Alabama thing. Mm-hmm.
I know what. Yeah,
I'm singing a hymn. I'm trying to bring it back a little bit for her.
Spiritual.
Yeah. No.
I miss that. I miss being in the South. I bet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was it? Was it real racy down there? Was it like real hillbillies?
It was real racy down there. There were certain points where it was just because. So I worked at the newspaper down there, and my editor, she was writing a story. It was about how there was segregation going on in the sororities.
Oh, still?
So yep.
Oh my God.
So she broke the story and had a bunch of people come forward how they had done pledging and they couldn't get in. And the story was that it wasn't the sororities themselves that wouldn't let them in. It was the sorority moms, essentially, like the people who
the den mother,
run
whatever.
It. Yeah,
okay.
Those people who wouldn't let them in, and they broke the story, and it blew up. So they had Jesse Jackson was down there. People were marching.
Gotta have Jesse first. Jesse's
yeah.
always
Al Sharpton showed up. You know Al showed up.
Oh yeah, they were all
Al
there.
showed up for that
all
one.
of them showed up. It was people were marching across campus. It was a whole thing.
Were you in a sorority?
No.
Too cool for that.
Too poor for that.
It costs money.
Too poor?
Yeah.
It costs money to be in a sorority?
Oh, I forgot it does.
It costs
Yeah,
a lot
somebody.
of money down there. To be
You wasn't
a
a.
sorority.
Did it cost money too?
Somebody paid for me.
What?
That's right, because I had financial
What
needs.
a tough life.
An alumni, some wealthy alumni just paid my dues. It was right. It was like I forgot. It was like $2,000 a semester. Or something
I didn't know you. I never knew that, Renee. I never knew you actually had to pay to be in a
forgot.
fraternity.
I never paid. Somebody else paid.
So you get like sponsored by somebody or something like that?
Yeah,
Kinda like that thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like an old alumni pays your dues.
So it's like a scholarship. So it's pretty much like a scholarship.
Yeah,
or a grant.
But I guess it makes sense because I lived in the house and I wasn't paying any
It was
fucking rent or
crazy.
anything like that.
Down there at that school, that's the largest Greek system in the country.
Oh, I bet.
Which was
I bet.
insane. So to go from a small town to there and see that implemented at a school, it was very weird. And everyone who was there that first year would ask me if I was pledging. I think they just didn't know what to ask you to start off with.
It's like, yeah.
I don't think they knew how to communicate.
That's a very college-y thing.
that.
It's kind of like now, like when you meet people, it's like, what do you do for work? Is always a question you ask somebody. It's just you have nothing else to ask. It's like, what do you do for a living?
Right.
It's like
down there, it's like
when you're in school, it's like, are you pledging? You know, where are you from?
do you like black people?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Yeah. Down there specifically.
Other black people tend to say yes. Other people tend to say no.
But yeah, they would. All the girls would ask me that, and then
Do you like black people?
yeah, they would ask me if I like black people, and I'd be like, hell yeah, where they at?
do you like black? All the girls would ask, do you like black?
Yeah,
people?
Hannah's like, yeah, where are they?
Then you
at?
can't pledge a sorority. Get out of here.
They would ask me if I was pledging, and two girls, I had to, when I was first going there, they asked me that, and I said no, and they just walked away from me.
Oh, like you just some fucking leper?
Yeah, pretty much. They would just walk away. They didn't, I just think they didn't know what to do, because that was their way of making friends and their way to connect with people, and
So how did you make
once
friends?
you said that, whenever people would ask me, I would just say I was poor. That was the only reason they would accept it. When I wasn't a part of the sorority. I'd be like,
So how did you
I'm
make-
poor.
Yeah, no,
and they
right.
would.
I guess because there's not really that much to do down there.
Well, yeah,
So
I think
right?
because certain schools, I know, like the University of Virginia, for example, like the entire social system is based in the Greek community, where all the parties on campus are thrown by the fraternities, and the fraternities have to, by rule
I
of the
still
school,
went to a lot
throw
of
their
parties that they threw.
Oh yeah,
If you're gonna have free beer, I'm gonna be there. But
exactly.
Did you ever go to like a? Well, I'm sure you went to fucking that football game. Their
that
football
was
is huge.
the best. Yeah.
right?
Oh, so I didn't know
About football?
about the sport. No, I knew what the sport was, but when I went there, I didn't know that they were a huge football school.
Oh, that big.
I didn't know.
You applied and you didn't even.
I had no idea. I was so.
That's crazy.
I was so in my own little bubble from my tiny town that when I applied there, I just thought it was.
But
a
nobody
journalism
brought it
program.
up to you? Like nobody?
Nobody brought it up to me. I knew that they played football. I had no idea.
That they were the number one school in the country at the time?
No idea.
Okay.
I came back from from visiting the college, and I went into my class, and I was like, I guess they're good at sports or something. Mm-hmm. And the kids in my class looked like they wanted to murder me. They're like, how do you not know?
Okay.
And so they had just won, I think, a national championship in football and gymnastics and softball. I was like, I guess they're really good at sports.
Oh yeah.
I guess that seems to be a thing they're into. And the first week I was there, the first football game wasn't that long afterwards, and my roommate...
Did you go?
Of course I went. But my roommate and her boyfriend were talking about what they're going to be doing that Saturday. And I said, what's going on Saturday? Is she kidding? No. Seriously, what's happening on Saturday? They're like, the football game. I was like, oh, is that a big thing around here? Like, do you know what school you go to?
Yeah. Do you know what state you're in? Actually,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's called Alabama University.
I was like, I guguess I'll have to see for myself. I walked into that stadium.
That is a state, right? That's a state, right?
Alabama?
Yeah,
Yes, it is. State.
I just,
Birmingham is where it's located. Yes, it's
just make sure. I have to just check with him a couple times.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, I went into that stadium of about 110,000 people. I was like, oh, it's big. All right, it's big here. All right.
It's huge, yeah, man.
I get it now.
Was it just was the tailgate just killer? I mean, the kids just absolutely lose their mind.
Fun. I got so into it. So I used to be my high school mascot, and I tried out to be Big Al.
Wait a minute. We're not just gonna gloss over the fact that you were the high school mascot.
First of all, what type of mascot were you?
What type of mascot
What'd
were
you
you?
wear?
I was a grizzly bear in high school.
And you put on the bear costume?
Oh, yeah. So I was on student council.
Wow, you really were a fucking theater nerd, huh?
I know. I really was. I thought it was something that everybody in high school would want to do. And the only reason I knew that nobody else wanted to is because I was in student council, and they asked if at a meeting or something that if anyone wanted to do it, and my hand shot up. And then I looked around and realized nobody else raised their hand.
Nobody else cared?
I was like, oh... Except for one other nerd, and he was kind of gross looking. So everyone's like, "We don't need that in the suit."
That's funny.
The head will fall off. It'll scare the children. We don't need that.
All I used to do, I would bring the suit back to my house. I would brush it out.
Wait a minute. You used to tend the suit?
I used to tend to the suit. I would brush it out. I would Febreze it. I would put dryer sheets in it overnight. I did a whole, and then I would suffocate it the next day because I put way too much stuff in it.
Oh, wow.
It was so bad.
Jeez.
I mean, I smelled great to everybody else, but I was dying in there.
What kind of cheers would you do?
I didn't really do cheers. I was just so much. So the only times I would put on the suit was for either homecoming or winter carnival or something, and nobody told me what I was supposed to do in the suit, so I would just go out there. And I would start dancing. I would start breaking it down.
No one tells. I'm starting to understand.
Start popping and locking in a fucking bear suit.
And there would be people in the
do
audience.
the robot in a bear suit.
Oh yeah, no, I would do it all. I did it all. Everybody in the crowds, my friend told me afterwards, he was like, "Oh man, that dude in that bear costume's really killing it right now."
Nobody knew it was you in the bear suit.
Someone threatened to beat me up when I was in the costume. They came up to me. They're like, "I'm gonna beat you up," and then so I raised the head up, the one with the cardinal rule you're not supposed to do.
I'm a woman. Don't hit me.
I did. I was just like, I'm a girl, please don't beat me up. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Got it.
Because I bet they usually think it's a dude in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was, I got knocked around in that thing a few times when people would get into mosh pits and stuff for when we would win Winter Carnival or whatever. That head was pretty heavy, so you'd get a concussion.
Did they let you keep the head as a souvenir when you graduated?
Oh, I didn't want that thing. That thing was so gross.
even though you tended to it and it would gently brush the hair after every use?
I think it was from the 80s. It was so gross. Oof. It was. I'm sure they probably still use it, honestly.
I'm sure, yeah. High school props they never get new shit.
I tried out to budget, man. I tried out to be Big Al, the mascot there, and that's a whole other game.
Oh, Alabama? That's what he's called, Big Al?
Oh. Yeah, Big Al. He was an elephant. So I got to put on the suit when I tried out.
I'm sure that's a big thing. They have tryouts and shit like that.
Tryouts were 2 days. I would do. You had to learn the walk. You had to learn the signature. His all of his moves. The interview process was so stupid.
They even have an interview process?
Do they pay you to do it if they're going through all this?
I think you make a certain amount of money when you go to events as Big Al.
Okay.
I think that was part of the appeal of
you get
it.
An appearance
but not for me though. I was like, it's for the glory.
For the glory of wearing the stupid hat.
The glory of wearing this elephant.
The elephant head.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're a big school, man.
The interview was so dumb. I remember them asking questions. So I was in there with another girl who was trying out, and we had to do the interview together. And her roommate was Big Al, so she had subbed in for Big Al a bunch of times. So I was screwed right off the bat.
Okay,
And
so she knew the drill. You had no idea.
I had no idea.
You know how to be the bear, but you didn't know how to be Big Al.
Dancers. I mean, they would ask me questions like, "What piece of furniture would you be if you were in a house or something?" It was so dumb
What
questions.
the fuck is that question have to do with anything?
I was like, and I was such a homebody that I was like, "I love seat." My grandpa and I used to sit there. I was like, ugh. Meanwhile, this chick was like, "I'd be a blow-up chair just because it's fun." I was like, "What? Where are we? What are we doing right now?"
Oh, what was that? That was a little bit of a sexy response for an elephant.
Yeah, she would say that, and then they were asking what music we listened to on the way there. And again, I was such a nerd. I was like, the Beach Boys. And
Oh
she
my-
was like, I was listening to Elephant Stomp. I was like, oh, I'm screwed.
Oh, she had the whole answer. Yeah.
Yeah, she had like the perfect answer. So of course she got it. But oh man, it was a good time though. It was interesting. I'm one of the few people who could say they've been in that mascot costume.
That is pretty true. They also have like if you get that gig too, they have like I think they have like all the high school or the college mascots, right? Like get together like for like big conventions
Oh,
in
they
Vegas
do.
and shit.
Oh yeah, there's
you
camps.
must get paid
there's
for
everything.
that.
It's a lot.
Camps?
Oh, there's
you have to go to
there's
fucking mascot camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's got to be the most pathetic thing on the planet.
I could think of one more.
What's the one more?
All right. High school mascot.
High school mascot.
Fucking high school mascot
Hey,
camp.
I killed it. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
The funny thing is, I like how she didn't know anything about sports or anything about.
But I was.
But she
But she-
decided to be the mascot.
But she decided to be the mascot, and she was like, "Oh well, no one told me." And then
The only football games I ever went to in high school, it wasn't to wear the mascot costume either. I was a part of select chorus, the most selective choruses.
What is select chorus?
And
the backups, reserves.
What is select chorus?
No,
Is
not
like
even
some band thing?
It was just
it's all the
it
way
was
around.
singing. It was you had a regular chorus, then you had select chorus that you had to try out for. So we would go and we would sing the national anthem at games, and they gave us like these really dorky baseball hats to wear and like khakis and polo shirts to go and sing. And all of us were so nerdy that we would just sing the anthem and then we would leave. We didn't watch the game. We would just leave.
Oh, you wouldn't even stick around for the game?
No.
Oh my god. What a waste of going to Alabama. What the
I
What
love.
the
See, but
fuck
the thing
was
is, I
that?
love football now. I love watching the games now.
Do you still follow Alabama?
Yeah, I
And
still do.
do you like know what's going on and everything?
Yeah, I was excited when they won this year. It was great.
So you're like a legitimate fan now. All right.
Yeah.
It turned into something.
I got into. You get into it when you're there, just because it's so a part of the culture. There's just so many different elements.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do on a Saturday? I can't
it's
imagine
yeah.
anything else be going on.
Well, it's like she said, it's a part of the culture. And
Yeah.
like and then we live in Boston, so Boston, it's also kind of like similar in that aspect too, like with sports here.
Yeah, I guess the sports
I can't watch
fanaticism.
the Pats though. I'm sorry. I can't. Ugh. My dad's super into it. I'm not into it. We went to the Super Bowl this year to see the.
Oh,
Pats.
that's right. How'd you like that? No fun? No
It
bueno?
was for.
I'm sure he was devastated at the loss.
It was his dream, and I went.
Okay.
And I feel like such a douche saying that, being like, "Oh, it was so awful going to the Super Bowl." Like, how terrible! But
How come you didn't like it? What's the?
it's just, it's not my thing. I like watching
College?
football better, just because
Makes sense, yeah.
these guys are being paid millions of dollars. They're doing it either to get into the NFL or just because they love it so much. So for me, it's more for the love of the game when you're watching it.
Okay.
And I feel like it's a different culture. With Pats fans, it's so commercialized.
Well, the
that-
Super Bowl especially too. I mean,
Yeah.
like that is just
Probably that's the most commercialized
yeah,
fucking
that
event
is a
of all.
fuck. Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be the most. I mean, it certainly is the most televised event. So I mean, yeah, it's, and also I bet going to the Super Bowl is not as fun as watching on TV because of the amount of stoppages for TV timeouts and all this shit. You must just be sitting there.
Well, it looks so much different.
waiting
Like,
around.
When you see Justin Timberlake's halftime performance, you're seeing an up close view of it with the cameras and everything. But if I were to show you a picture of the stadium and what it actually looked like, it was tiny. It was so tiny in comparison to everything else. And half the performance you couldn't see because he did it in the tunnel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
With all the sexy ladies that he was doing it for, and all the people who are at the game where it's mostly dudes, they don't care if Justin Timberlake's
They could care
performing.
less, yeah.
All the people on the field were women. They
Okay.
just brought all the girls onto the field. No, There was no dude running onto that field.
Woo, Justin!
Everybody for that halftime show who was at that game just took a pee break. They're like, I don't need to see this.
Wow.
Even
wow.
though they paid so much money to go to their first Super Bowl, none of them cared.
I want to let you know that I didn't get off my seat when he was on.
You watched the whole
Yeah, I
thing,
watched the
wire to
whole
wire.
thing, yeah.
I watched it. I
I'm a JT
enjoyed
fan.
it.
I
It
enjoy
was
this little
interesting.
JT.
I mean,
Yeah.
was it my favorite performance of all time? No, but I mean, it was
Did you
fine.
did you play sports in high school or anything like that?
I did. Well, not in high school. High school.
Besides playing the mascot, dude.
That's fine.
Besides the workout with the mascot outfit?
I did track and cross country in high school, and then
Okay.
and then earlier on I did basketball and softball and volleyball.
Oh,
but
dope.
I wasn't good enough at those to be able to continue.
To
them.
continue it, yeah. Okay, that's cool. So there's some sports type of like
Yeah, you're not a complete
competitive,
dork.
like you played in that competitive in competitive
Yeah, I got
environments.
really into when I got into running. I got really into it. I did like state championships and all that stuff.
You were like distance, or were you doing sprints?
Distance.
Okay.
Yeah, I got so into it, but it was because this girl on my team, we were really competitive with one another, and also there was nothing else going on in my life. So
In high school, yeah, really.
of course you're gonna run all the time when you live in a tiny town and there's nothing else to do.
Are you competitive like by nature or in situations when you put into it? Like you know what I mean?
I think I'm competitive by nature. I don't. I'm definitely competitive with stand up. I feel if it's during a show, I feel like who had the best set of the night. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
I was gonna say, how do you get competitive in stand up?
Competitive in stand-up-
It's not always. It's not always a like
Well,
a bracket. Knock out the guy to advance the next
Particularly
round.
more when you're a female stand up, it's to get that one spot on the show.
Oh, to get like the woman's spot. Is there really like a thing on the woman's spot's a real thing?
Oh, that's a real thing. Yeah.
Okay. That's
There's
fucked up.
only a few. Usually it's one or two, maybe three if it's a real progressive show in Boston,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is insane.
Well, the numbers are there. It's right there. The numbers are there. It's just not that. There's not that many.
But then you have to counteract it with, there's only a lot of spots, but there's also so many women doing stand up as well.
Yeah, there's not that many. Yeah, there's way more male comics
For sure.
in this scene. I don't know
But I
in
think
other
if,
scenes. You know
I
what
think
mean?
if there
Like-
were more spots available to women on those shows, more women would continue to do stand up.
Well, I think it's also.
So you think it's the lack of females being in comedy is in and of itself discouraging to other women trying to do comedy.
It is because when you
Okay.
go to shows and it's 90% dudes.
I can
who
see
are
that. Yeah,
there,
being
you feel
uncomfortable.
like you either don't have an audience, or you do feel alienated. There is a certain amount of
I totally did-
alienation there.
I totally didn't take into account the not having an audience factor in that.
I
Like,
don't understand. What do you mean? Not I have an audience.
like
I
if
don't understand
like
When your audience is all men.
yeah, like if you're a woman and you're at an open mic, it's gonna be
that.
most.
Your peer audience, not the actual general audience you're referring to, right?
When it's a general audience, there's usually a good mix. But in my experience, it's been
Well, that's
at least 80%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're starting out, you're doing mostly open mics, right? So, like,
Yeah.
you're going to be in a room mostly men now. Whereas you or I, like, our reference point might carry a little bit farther just because the other men have a similar reference point, like making a joke about, me sitting on my balls or whatever, or hitting on a girl. Like, the other guys in the audience have that same viewpoint, but they won't have. The audience at an open mic, which is going to be mostly other male comedians, the women won't have that same viewpoint, so it's harder to resonate. I never thought about it like that.
hard to resonate. But I mean, I'll talk about things. I'll make you fucking laugh. I'll
No,
do
I know.
it.
I've seen your act. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well, at the end of the day, that's what matters.
I don't
Like,
care
that's
if you're a
what-
man or a woman.
Yeah,
I'll make you laugh.
that's where I'm going
but-
at.
Yeah,
Like-
no, I understand, but
That
I'm saying,
part
but
doesn't matter, but when
your
there are-
references and stuff
The
like that.
references.
When
yeah.
there are certain things that I'm talking about, like right now I have a joke about not wanting kids and getting ice cream when I go to get a pregnancy test every time.
Right.
But certain stuff like that, I know that women in the audience are going to relate to more so than men are.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's still a funny topic, and I know that they'll find it funny, but I just know that they're going to relate to it more and like me more than they will.
Yeah, that it'll play better with like a real audience. I think it's just having some of those references that don't, as a man, as a woman that men don't have. I would imagine, like, I never thought about it. Then the relatability being more difficult.
It's also
It's hard for me to relate with that joke because I don't. I mean, I bought pregnancy tests, but I'm not the one taking them. So
Yeah.
it's like,
It's
Right.
also interesting after shows too because you'll get.
I'm glad you bought him, Randy. By the way, you didn't.
I try to be a gentleman.
I usually let the.
All negative, I'm hoping.
Well, they eventually became that way.
Oh, jeez.
I had one girl.
I'm kidding.
One girl was like, "Hey, I was like, I think you should get the Plan B thing," and she was like, "Okay." She's like, "Do you want to pay for it, or do you want me to pay for it?" I was like, "Yeah, you pay for it."
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, it's so cheap now. It's so
No.
cheap now. I mean,
Well, I gave her half. I gave her.
Okay,
half.
good. I was like, at least go half. Don't be a jerk.
No, I didn't give her. I didn't give her.
I'll call you out. I'll call you out. You're an
half she's on the
I
Plan
once
B
bought
pill.
Plan B, but I paid for it, but only because I didn't tell the guy who I'd hooked up with that I was getting Plan B.
All right, that's honorable.
So, I just figured, I was like, he doesn't need to know. It's fine.
That's honorable.
Yeah, he probably wasn't someone that. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's. I would be less upset if a woman did that and didn't tell me than if she like had the kid and was like.
Oh God.
And I found out. Like,
if she was
10 years later, I got a son. Like 20 years later, I got like a grown
No, I'm
son. What the
proactive about that.
It's different.
I'll tell
Nip
him.
that right in the bud.
I'm glad you're proactive. A lot of women out here are in the streets crazy.
And, oh my God, yeah.
Have you guys seen? I recently saw this because I had to hang out at CVS once for a long time. But have you seen the at-home paternity test that CVS sells?
They have an at-home paternity
They have an
test.
at-home paternity test.
Don't they,
Oh my
don't they always
God.
have that?
No,
wasn't aware that
that
you
was a
could do
woman's
that.
test, but not for male paternity.
Oh, for male?
Yeah, man.
How the fuck is that? What?
To check if see if your son is yours.
Yeah.
Or the
You are
daughter is
father,
yours.
according to CVS.
I was thinking about. I was trying to make a joke about that the other day.
Really?
About how 23andMe has like a special on their.
Oh yeah, you can do
It's like
this a lot.
what father wants a paternity test on Father's Day? Like none. You know, like it's either my kid or it's not.
Part of me wanted to get the at-home paternity test just because it's a great find.
I mean, that would be really fun.
What a
Oh my
deal.
God.
But both of you guys have to take it.
No, just you have to swab the son. The father to spit into a cup, and
Yeah.
the child is to spit into a cup, and then they figure it out.
And they figured it out right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
An at-home paternity test. Oh my God.
Hey, that saves a lot
How
of
many
fucking-
marriages is that going to ruin? You think?
I don't think it would ruin. I think it'd help
But
it.
I also question the.
Well, it would help the guy realize he's not paid. But
I question the accuracy of an at-home paternity test too. Like
most
most people mess up a regular pregnancy test. You think they're going to get
but if it comes back
they're gonna
positive,
get an at-home paternity test, right?
What's a straight? What's a plus? What's that mean?
oh yeah, right. but if it comes back positive, it's enough to get a second opinion. It's like, well, now I want to go to get a real one. You know, like now I'll go to the real doctor and get a real.
Nope,
paternity
not
test.
Hannah. She's like, nope, I'm good with this.
Well, anytime I've had to take a pregnancy test, oh God.
They're expensive, by the way. I remember them being
They're
fucking
not,
expensive as
not
shit.
not the ones I'm getting.
Well, look, it's also been a long time since.
But for me, it was expensive when I was getting them. I was like $16.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time since I've been buying pregnancy
to pee on
tests.
something. I mean,
Yeah, it's been a long time since I had to worry about a pregnancy scare. Like, you know, the $60 mattered in
I
college.
used to spend that $16, but I would spend it. So the only time I had to take a pregnancy test was when I was in college, and I got it at like the school store. So I would use my dining dollars on my little card to go and get that and some ice cream. Yeah, really classy.
That means your parents essentially paid for the pregnancy.
I know.
Or you're paying interest on
Those
it now.
cards were great. It was like Monopoly money at that point.
Well, if you have student loans now, you're paying interest on your
I know.
maternity
Paying
test.
for that pregnancy test now.
10 times over.
So you said with kids, he's like you're good at this point. You're like, I just don't want him. You're
Yeah,
like,
I don't want him. It's never been a thing that I've.
How old are
wanted.
you?
I'm 24.
You're not supposed to ask women that, apparently, but I do it all the time.
Comics.
No, I do it regularly.
No, but comics, I feel like comics don't give a fuck. Like comics is like, I'm
I
gonna tell you my
always
age.
wonder why
Like,
people give a shit about their age. Like they get sensitive about it. It's like you're not going to undo the actual age you are, so you might as well just say it. You know, like
Yeah.
it's one of those things you can't
well, I feel
change.
like the reason why I asked her age is because I just versus someone like we're older.
Yeah, we're
like,
fucking old farts.
We're old fucking dudes, so we're like we have. I think maybe. Yeah, the idea of kids may change later on. If when you start getting a little older.
I mean,
now,
for me, I feel like the reason I don't want kids is because there were a lot of points when I was growing up where I felt like a financial burden on my family.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Which is a lot for a kid.
Well, you're
I
gonna
feel
hit it
like.
huge, and you're gonna make a lot of money. You're gonna have a bunch of kids.
I mean, that's all well and good. I don't blame my parents. I think it was a tough situation, and I love them, and I think they did a great job, and I think that they wanted kids, and that's awesome. But I think it was definitely difficult at times.
Sure.
And I don't think if I had a kid, I mean, right now I definitely couldn't.
Sure. Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to put that on a kid. Be like, hey, you're the reason why we're broke, and we
Yeah.
can't do anything.
I mean, there's a selfish reasons why, but I also don't think the world is going to be better off 50 years from now for like my kids to be living in than it is for me. You know, like with the way the population problems and global warming and this fucking jerk off in the office and whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know that
I mean, for real,
A kid
I
born
can't
tomorrow
take
is-
care of myself right now, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust myself to take care of another human
Oh,
being. And I just think it's such.
I'm
if
10
you
years
look
old
up-
and I can't take care of
The average
myself.
cost of a kid is $245,000.
See, we talk about that.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of bread.
It's a lot of dough.
And that's cheap.
I can
man.
tell you
That's
right
not-
now.
that's not
That's
like-
that's the low end.
Yeah, that's public school kid. That's fucking that's public school kid, with no college money kid.
Right, right,
College, you add another $250,000
I
on
can tell
top
you right now.
there. Boom, you had $500,000.
I can tell you right
right
now.
on top of that.
I can tell you right now. My parents had it's 4 kids. They definitely didn't spend $240,000 on me. I can tell you right now.
Maybe on average across all of their kids, and you got a little bit less than your siblings.
It's easy to kind of like with the kid topic to kind of like goes straight to like the economic version of it. Like saying I can't afford it. Actually, I wish more people would be like that way.
Exactly,
we wouldn't have fuck up parents around here. You know what I mean?
But
Like
the other thing too is you guys for me, I would love to be a dad. Oh hell yeah, I'll be a dad any day.
Oh, because they're not giving birth thing.
Well, not so much that, but I feel like dads. There's a lot of things dads don't have to do. Like if I wanted to continue doing stand up and go on the career I would have to be nursing on the road.
Okay.
I have a kid attached to a tit, and I would have to keep going. And that's
stop for a little bit.
Or stop, yeah.
That's why women have maternity leave, because your body gets so beat up.
It changes, yeah.
From having a kid and trying to keep that going. And so people like Ali Wong.
That's what I'm saying. She's breaking the mold a little bit. She's going out on tour when she's pregnant.
But she's not even doing as many dates as she probably would
Oh,
have
yeah,
had she
no,
had her kids.
no.
But she's put a lot of things on the back burner. I feel like she talked about it in her last special, or at least in her last few postings. She said after this tour, I'm taking a break.
And she had a couple kids like right away, back to back.
She had back to
right?
back. So I mean, your body is just a war zone after that happens to you.
Right.
Whereas guys, if as a male comedian, you can have a kid, your wife's at home with the kid, you just keep going on the road, which is great. But
yeah, if your wife's down for that,
you don't have to have that kid attached to the hip.
I always have arguments about this topic with my parents. They're like, at this point,
they're trying to push you on a kid.
Well, just first they should push me to have a woman first.
That's what I'm saying. Like, wait a minute, they push you to have a kid. You gotta get a lady.
So
I like how we're talking about this. I'm like, yeah, I haven't dated for a while.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute. Don't you worry, girl.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I'm just like you, Hannah. The first thing I say is like, listen, like I'm barely could take care of myself right now. I mean, I'm not poor, well, actually, but I mean, economically, I'm not in a position to like have another kid, stuff like that. They're like, well, don't think about having money. Just like you'll figure it out. That's the old way of thinking. Like you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
But
how about if I don't figure it out?
Yeah,
like,
it's unfair to that kid. It's unfair to you.
Yeah, it's like, how about if I don't figure it out and I don't want my kid to suffer?
Do you feel
what I mean?
do you get a lot of pressure about it? Well, particularly, there's one moment where I feel very pressured about it. Do you get pressured to have kids when you go to your doctor's appointments?
Your doctor does.
No, I don't go to. I don't
You don't go to the doctor.
I don't really go to the doctors a lot. We don't really. But
It's been more
Your doctor
more
tells
so
you?
in the past few years. But anytime I've gone to any doctor's appointment, whether it's with my doctor or someone different, it's you get the question as a woman of when are you having kids? Not if you're having kids.
because it makes sense. Yeah.
When are you having kids?
Timing.
In how many years do you plan to have kids? And how many kids do you plan on
Because the
having?
biological clock.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, makes sense.
It's an uncomfortable.
That's weird. That's weird. The doctor's
It's a
asking
weird
that.
question.
No,
And
but
you-
it's science.
what's weirder is if you say that you don't want it, they continue to pressure you and ask you. That's what's weirder. to me.
Because
Because
they
they-
pressure you. Like, say, really?
Oh,
They
yeah.
go. They're like, really?
I had one woman who would not let up.
It's a
after I
health.
had
It's a
said-
health risk.
I get it. I mean,
What? Not having kids?
But even after, what's funny is
No.
even after my last doctor, which was last week, I had said that I didn't want kids. She goes, okay, well, if you do, you should start taking prenatal vitamins right now.
Right.
I was like, what?
Well,
She's
I have to have a boyfriend before I start taking prenatal vitamins.
Yeah.
So I guess to understand this.
I'd yell at her. Are you kidding? I'd be all up in her grill.
she
Like,
was,
look,
she was trying to be nice. I understand what she's doing. She's just trying to give me the information, basically. She was saying,
Right.
have your prenatal vitamins. She's like, and also it's good for your skin, your
Yeah,
hair, skin, and
yeah.
nails. I was like, well, you can take some different gummies for that. Thanks.
Yeah,
I
I was
don't
like, or just give me the regular vitamins.
like I said, gummies, not vitamins, because I'm 12.
So you feel like so you don't. I understand them asking it because with women it's obviously different biologically when because guys can have kids whenever the fuck they
Feel like, yeah.
feel like it. With women, I guess it's like that's that clock thing that happens. So I guess that's why they're asking, right, to a degree. Right?
Yeah, I understand why that, but it is frustrating when you're not even 25 yet and they're asking these questions.
That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit weird that they're putting it on, and then they're like, oh, really? You don't?
The thing I want to laugh at when they ask me, I'm like, you do know I'm still on my parents' health insurance, right? You really want to be asking me when I'm having a kid?
They can get
I still am the kid in this situation.
That's so funny if like your parents
Let me
like
get my own
ask.
health insurance before I get my own kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny if your parents found out through their medical records
Oh,
you were pregnant
God.
and you didn't tell
Oh
them.
my God.
Oh, can you send me the medical records for us? And like, oh, Hannah, are you?
If they called your parents' house, like, we have Hannah's pregnancy test results.
My dad, not that long ago, I was talking about this last night because it was Father's Day. I was saying how
course.
my dad, 2 years ago, took me to Planned Parenthood because I needed to get birth control. And I was joking with him on the way there. I was like, boy, this is just like the Sweet 16 I never had. And he took me there, and it wasn't that I really necessarily needed it. It was just that I was switching doctors, and I couldn't get the new doctor for the next few months, and they wouldn't refill my prescription for birth control. Do you know how hard it is to get birth control. I did not realize how hard it is to get birth control. It's easier to get cocaine than it is to get birth control. It's insane.
It depends on who you ask. You can ask, we know peoples.
It was.
It depends.
I got a birth control guy.
It was insane. I was calling
seriously,
everywhere to try and get that prescription refilled. It was getting to the point where I would go to the CVS and I'd practically jump over the counter. I'm like, give me the goods. I know what's back there. Generic. Just give me it.
I just need to know it says birth control on
And it wasn't as if I was even, it sounds gross, sexually active. I was
that was
living at home. It's not like I was fucking up a storm. I had a goddamn bunk bed. Top
or
It's
bottom.
not like I was inviting. It's not like I was
seats.
inviting dudes over. Be like, yeah, top or bottom.
I feel like Hannah would like the top bunk. Like she'd
No,
like,
I
just for the
wasn't
irony.
I wasn't a top bunk gal. I was a bottom
Really?
bunk gal. My sister had the top bunk, but she was top bitch in charge. So
Oh, okay. So she was the boss.
yeah, she was the boss. But a joke was on her because we didn't have air conditioning, so it's super hot up there.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
So I would sleep on the floor, and then she would sleep on the bottom bunk.
Oh, you didn't have air conditioning. I hated that. Growing up without air conditioning. It's fucking
weirdly,
murder.
I liked sleeping on the floor.
Until
Until we got ants, and then it got bad.
No AC bullshit.
New Hampshire living, huh?
Well, I live in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire.
Was it mostly middle class up there? Middle to
middle class? I mean, I live in a log cabin up there.
So her dad was a cop, dude, just like Trisha's. Our last female guest, her dad was a cop.
okay.
She's
Yeah.
retired.
So
In New Hampshire, I believe.
Oh, so both of your parents were officers.
Well, my mom's not an officer. My mom's an administrative assistant at the police department.
At the police
She's been there forever.
But she's been there
So
forever.
I grew up around cops. Yeah, that was my babysitters essentially.
I was a
Police,
I was a public safety officer for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chase had the fancy badge and everything to show for it.
cool.
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble growing up? Like, did you get out of a few pinches with you, like drinking in the woods? You embarrassed your dad?
No, I was too terrified of that, and also I wasn't that cool. So I mean,
Really?
No, but she could
were
hide.
like,
She could hide stuff. I feel like she's good at.
you were
good,
like smoking weed in the bushes with your
no,
friends and whatnot.
that was my sister.
She was the badass.
My sister was the one who broke all the rules and would do the partying and the crazy stuff, and I would see how my parents would react to that and discipline her, and I knew that I never wanted to do that.
Would they come down hard on her?
Yeah, they would, pretty hard. But, I mean, she wasn't even really doing that crazy of stuff, but it was just much different than what I was doing.
Yeah, jumping around in a fucking bear costume as opposed to
Yeah,
she was smoking,
I was definitely.
she was smoking weed in the bushes with the guys.
What
and you
used to
were-
always make me laugh is when, if I did do something wrong, that my dad would try to, he would like try to take things away from me, but then he would look at what I did with my life and he was like, "There's nothing to take away."
Yeah, you fucking.
What are you gonna take away? Band practice?
He's gonna
Like-
make you play. He's gonna make you play the trombone as opposed to.
Yeah, I was like, "What are you not gonna let me go to theater this summer? Like, what's the worst you're gonna do?"
Go to
I think
theater
he
camp.
knew that too, because anytime he would try to take, he's like, "Well, you can't go to theater camp." I was like, "Ooh."
You gotta stay home and play with us.
So,
Yeah,
so from the time you went to obviously you went to school Alabama, boom. Then you moved back here.
yeah, I lived at home for a
Then
year.
you lived at home for a year. So what made you be like, hey, like I want to do stand up? Like what
Stand up, how
did that come into?
when I wanted to do stand up, it didn't really happen till later in college, but I had written, so I used to write for a newspaper and I wrote this TV column. And I wrote a column about Chelsea Handler, about how she was my girl crush. It was still when Chelsea Lately was going on. And I had read all of her books anyway, and she was my person.
Okay.
And so I wrote this column, and her publicist saw it, and then we got a message. This was after my editor had like bitched me out about something.
And you wrote
too.
this in Alabama at the.
Yeah.
What was the name of the paper down there?
Yeah, it was just the Crimson White. It was just this tiny paper that we did.
Well, not that tiny. That's a big school. So get some.
It's a big
circulation.
school. No, I did a good amount of circulation that it went to people, but I never thought they would see it.
Yeah.
And so then she saw it and she liked it, and then they asked if like I wanted to come see her on tour, and so my sister and I went, which was a whole other adventure on its own.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna get into that.
oh god, that story. Oh god, that was not. The end result of that trip was good, but the beginning of it was not good.
Right.
But we went to see her on tour, and being at that show, that was my first real like live stand-up show, seeing it. And it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
And you could just feel the energy in the room, and I was like, I don't want to know what this feels like.
I want to do that.
Yeah, and it was just, and I had seen people before, like I'd always told stories to my friends and been been funny in general, but I had never done it on stage. And So after that happened, later that summer, I was applying to jobs, and every job that I would apply to, it would just be in the back of the mind, you should be doing stand-up, you should be on stage, you should be doing this. Every single thing I applied to, until finally I had signed up for a stand-up class, because I was like, just try it. If you hate it,
Who'd you sign up with? Dana?
Rob Creed.
Oh, Rob, nice.
Yeah,
Shout out
it
to
was
Rob
good.
Creed. At IB or where at?
Yeah, at IB.
Okay.
And even when I first got into it, I thought you were just supposed to be writing jokes. That's how you're supposed to do it. It just, the very specific formula, the way we were kind of taught to do it in class. And it wasn't till a day when I had just a long day, and I decided, I was like, I'm just going to talk about my day, whatever. See, I don't care anymore. And I got on stage, and my first thing out of my mouth was, I had the shits on the bus today.
There you go.
It's just something stupid, and
That'll make people laugh.
I just talked just about just how I would have told the story to my mom, and that was the first big laugh I had gotten, and I was like,
Where was that at?
That was
Middle East?
just at IB, just at the class.
Okay.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, now I know what to do.
Okay.
Okay, now we're into it. Now I know how to talk to people, and let's see what we can do and keep going.
That's cool. It's so interesting, like how like that's pretty much like kind of almost the same story when comics decide to start doing comedy for the first time. For a while, it's always something in their head that's saying like, I have to like.
Yeah, you should be, like you said, you should be doing this. I should be doing this. I should be
How do
doing
I
this.
get this on? How do I get it?
Why am I not doing
You know?
this?
Well,
I'm wasting time. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting
I mean,
time.
Joan Rivers used to always say that it wasn't a job, it was a calling.
Yeah,
So it's
I believe that.
Yeah.
And I think it is. I think you feel it deep down. You're just especially when you start looking at other jobs. Like I applied to over 500 jobs like 2 summers ago.
What?
Every day, because I didn't have another job, so
Yeah.
I would just sit at home.
I think we remember that. You were telling us about
Yeah, it was insane. I would
Yeah.
apply to everything. At one point, I just felt like people weren't even looking at my resume because they assumed it was a virus on their computer. Because I used to send out so many things every day. I was like, they have to think it's like a glitch in the system at this point.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
This is ridiculous.
You can't be resubmitting for this again.
Yeah, I mean, I would apply to at least 10 things a day, and I would just keep it going. And then by the end of the summer, I was starting to tally things up, and I was like, I think I've applied to over 500 jobs,
Jesus.
which is insane.
And nothing came back, huh?
Well, one thing
Until
came
Pete
back.
came, until Sirius came back.
The job at
The news,
7 News, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I. And then so 7 News happened, and that's around the same time I started class.
Okay.
So now I had another reason to be in Boston for that day. So I would take the bus in the morning, go to work, and then I would take the train to class. And then my dad, God love him, would drive down and pick me up from class at like 8 at night. And we wouldn't get back till 10. And then I'd be back
Oh,
on
because
that.
you're still living at home. That's
Yeah,
right.
I was living at home. So then I would get back, and then I'd be back back to leave for that next bus in the morning at 6 a.m.
Hustling.
And then after that happened, after the class was over, I would do stand-up periodically, but I would go to work, and then I would wait a few hours, try to do a couple shows, and then I would sleep on a person from that class's couch.
Oh, wow.
I would just sleep on their couch, and then I would go into work the next morning, and try to do it that way. But I just remember when I was doing that, every time I stayed over at a person's house, I would be laying there, and I'd be like, I can't wait till I can move here, and I can do as many shows as I want.
You go sleep in your own bed.
Yeah, and I can sleep in my own bed, and I don't have to depend on somebody else when they're coming back, or if I even have somewhere to sleep.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It makes you. I've been in those situations a lot, you know, and it makes you just. It makes you so much stronger. Where like gives you the drive to work harder, so you can be like, I can't wait to get my own shit, like so you can do your own what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have conversations. I met Sam Ike when I used to do the Shaskin. He was the first like real Boston comic I had met, and I only met him because he had an Alabama sweatshirt on, and we started talking. And it wasn't even his; it was his dad's.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
He still has it.
He still wears it all the time.
Yeah, all
I
the
love
time.
him.
Yeah.
But Sam and I started talking, and he used to check in on me all the time, and he meant well. He would always ask me how my day was going, and I did the same thing day in and day out. So eventually it got old, and I was like, I'm still doing the same shit, Sam. I was like, I got nothing for you. I was like, I have nothing going on with my life. I was like, I don't think you realize how lucky you are just being. He's like, well, shows get boring after a while. I was like, no, I don't think you realize just that you have the option
To go
and do it.
or not go to a show if you don't want to.
Yeah, it was like just so that you can go and do it. Whereas here, there's nothing going on here in New Hampshire. There's maybe 2 shows.
So how long have you been in
really.
Boston now? Is this like coming up on a full year?
Yeah, it's been a full year now.
Okay. And was it everything you dreamed of now that you're leaving?
It was when I first got here. I was amazed that I could just hop on the train and go to a bunch of shows and come back late at night. It was awesome, and I still feel that way, honestly.
Okay.
I think we met Hannah about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a year ago, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I remember at the Hideout watching. Well, we'll get into it now about your relationships.
Oh God.
Your love of men on 4 wheels.
Well, before
2 wheels. 2 wheels.
Two
buddy.
wheels. Sorry. Well, they have the little ones up front, the little directional wheels, don't they?
Yeah, but that's for losers.
Oh, the little wheels are for the losers.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to the handicapped community. I'm so sorry. If you're handicapped and you listen to this podcast, I'm so sorry.
Well, we
I
have a
lot.
appreciate
We have a
you.
lot. We have a lot.
We have a lot of handicap.
we're actually sponsored by the.
the Handicap Association. We got to back up a little bit because Hannah
I
has.
support your community, okay?
Yeah, so
In
for
ways
those-
you don't even know yet.
So for those who haven't seen Hannah's act, she has a couple bits about dating handy-capable men. And one of the first ones, she has a whole series on it, and apparently she's dated a few that played wheelchair basketball.
Oh, more than one?
Well,
A few. I want to say a few.
that's a weird story. So
So you're into jocks? Let's talk
yeah, I
about.
used to party with the wheelchair basketball
No legged
team.
jocks.
They had legs. Jesus Christ.
No, they're legs.
But
They just couldn't use them.
whatever you want to say.
Paralysis.
Yeah.
Paralysis.
Paralyzed jocks.
Yeah.
Is that
So I
paralyzed
used
jock?
to,
guess,
so the reason the reason this all happened is because I was doing a story. It was about, I think something had to do with like handicap stuff at school and just entrances, whatever my editor wanted me to write. So I met a bunch of people from the wheelchair basketball team. They had just won the national championship. They're a really good team.
So they had a good basketball team and they got a good handicap basketball team.
Yeah, well, they have a crappy basketball team, men's basketball team
Oh,
at
okay.
Alabama. But the wheelchair basketball team crushes it.
Gotcha.
They kill it.
Gotcha.
So I met a bunch of them, and as I was meeting them, I was like, oh, these guys are all hot. These are a bunch of hot dudes who just happen
That
to be
can't run away
losers.
from me.
Shut, that's so mean, but also true. I was like, where are
Sorry,
you
that
going?
was easy.
Where are you going? Put the brakes on.
That was a cheap one.
But I was talking to them. All of these guys were hot. They were all from other countries.
Right,
They had
right.
all been to the Paralympics. They had traveled the world.
Fuck
it was
yeah.
pretty appealing. I mean,
Yeah, hell yeah. Real fucking
so
dudes, yeah.
as I got to know them, I dated a guy, and
Before you even just jump into that, how does did he just roll up to you and be like, hey, like,
no, I
be
had,
like, hey,
I
I like you.
I had interviewed him with the team, and then I became friends with the team, so I would hang out with them, and we would go on to party,
Sure, okay.
which is always
Was
fun.
it like the whole? They would roll deep in a crew of like the whole basketball squad.
People would see me. My friend saw me one night coming around the corner. A bunch of the team had come before me, and then she saw me and she was really drunk. She was like, "I knew you were gonna be with them. You always roll with the team."
No,
When they roll, they really roll
I had
together.
a whole crew. Yeah, it
That's
was
cool.
it was interesting.
Do they all live in the same like in the same? Like, are they in a fraternity or whatever? Like these?
No, well, one of them was in a fraternity who I did hook up with, but one of them, the guy who I mostly dated was not. He had his own place, and
Okay.
and yeah.
So how many in total? How many wheelchair?
In terms of people who I had sex with, just one.
But how many?
In terms of
hook
people
up
who I
with?
hooked up with, like 2.
Didn't you date another guy after that in a wheelchair?
I had hooked up with him, but we didn't date though. It was very sporadic.
Okay,
but
because I know there was two separate stories.
oh yeah, so the story is essentially.
and the truth.
And the truth. Thanks, Jason.
And the
So
truth.
I lost my virginity to the guy in the wheelchair, and he was also a virgin too when that happened.
Okay, well that's cute.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it was
You could
good.
Why don't you write a movie about that? That's
I know,
fucking
right?
sell.
That's a fucking. That's an episode right there.
I don't write a movie about that because he was a real asshole.
Oh, that definitely would
That
sell.
would definitely sell. Yeah, that would definitely. Yeah, exactly.
He was not the best person. We decided that we would be friends with benefits, which of course you do with the wheelchair community.
I mean, yeah, like the balls on that dude. The balls on that dude.
On your first go around too.
That's
I
what I'm
was like,
saying.
let's
His-
lose our virginities and also keep it casual.
That's what I'm saying. The balls on
What?
this guy to pull that off. Now I know why he was in a
So-
fucking wheelchair to fucking roll around those big ass nuts of his to pull that stunt off.
So that happened probably right before I left for my freshman year. And then when I came back for the fall semester, we were like, oh, we're gonna keep it casual, whatever. And one night I was out with another guy from the team. We were at his fraternity.
Oh, you see, that's the problem.
And I was a little drunk, and we started making out. Then he wheeled me home. And when I said that I'm legitimate, I would sit in the lap and we would just roll on. And
Oh, he would really just.
oh yeah, no, legitimately.
So he would take your capable legs and put them on his lap.
She was,
and
she was hammered. She was
Anyway.
hammered.
Oh, okay.
She was hammered. She
Okay.
was fucking done.
I was gonna say that's
We
fucked
didn't
up.
have Uber.
So he got on his lap.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So he brought me back to my place. We were starting to hook up, and there was some boob play happening, but it was getting weird.
Oh, he likes foreplay. Good.
It was getting weird. It was like a little just like around the knit. It was like.
Did he
boop,
did he
boop,
take
boop,
his
boop.
fingerless gloves off before he did this? Or
There
did
were no gloves. come
Okay,
on.
I don't know if he.
But it was just like it was getting a little. It was getting weird for me anyway. I was like, this isn't a good idea. And also in my head, I was like, do you really want to be the person who's just like super into dudes in wheelchairs? Like, of course, now that's what I'm known for. And
Now it's your calling card.
yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone who is handy capable and listens to this podcast, hit me up afterwards.
Yeah. Oh,
My number is. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Watch. You have a lot of people on your thing.
But yeah, so I was like, oh, I was like, you gotta go. I was like, and I had essentially kicked him out. But I was so drunk that I then invited the other guy who I used to hook up with over to my
Ooh.
place.
And I'm sure he saw this
And
transpire.
we had no, he didn't see it. He didn't know.
Oh,
he
I thought it was.
He probably doesn't even know now.
I thought he was at the party. I thought he was at the
No,
party and
he
saw
was
this.
not. No. This was the other guy. The guy who brought me home. This was like his fraternity party. Or
Oh,
whatever.
okay, got it.
The guy who I invited was the guy who I had lost my virginity over to, and he came over, and that happened. And then the next morning, I woke up. I was like, did I really just have two guys in wheelchairs in my room in one night that I kind of hooked up with?
Wow. I mean,
And I remember after that happened, I was like, I can never tell anyone this ever.
and now
I
you tell everyone this
tell
every
everyone
chance
this
you get.
story.
Well, yeah.
It's a tremendous story.
It's
it never
crazy.
gets old to me. I mean, I enjoy it every time I hear it.
Yeah. It's weird as you get older. You can start all those crazy, embarrassing stories. Well, if you think it's embarrassing, I don't think it is, but it's kind of they're all funny shit. Like you just
Yeah,
laugh
well,
at it,
it's tragedy plus time equals comedy. That old saying.
I mean, it used to be fun. I mean, it became a joke even when I was still hanging out with them because my sister would text me and I would Snapchat stuff from the game and she would send me a message like, try to keep it in your pants.
Well, I remember you telling me like these guys also had like a great sense of humor about it themselves. They would.
They were hilarious.
Yeah, they were cool with the
We would go out,
no
we would
legs
all-
jokes and whatnot. They
we would
weren't
all
like
get
upset.
drunk and they'd be outside the bar and they'd be pushing each other out of each other's wheelchairs. Because it's funny. It is funny. You can't deny it. But other people who were around it were horrified. They didn't know what to make of it. And then their best thing that they would do is that they would do this in front of a group of girls and see which girl would help them back into their chair. And then they would
That's some really fucking
and then they would just
smart evil
flirt
shit.
with that girl for the rest of the night. And then, of course, those girls are getting drunk just like me. They sit down in the lap, and then they're there for the whole night. Then you just got to bring them home.
That's
it.
actually some evil genius. You know, would you have thought of that, Chase? If you were in a wheelchair, like, yo, let's throw each other out of a wheelchair and see what girl picks us up, and then just flirt with her the rest of the night?
Well, half the time they would fall out of the wheelchairs anyway, because some of them couldn't really hit the curbs when they were drunk. But
Well, yeah, I mean, it must have just been a sight to for 20, like you and 20 dudes in wheelchair. I mean, it's like the whole, it's like a football team, or a basketball team's worth of
it was
people,
usually
right?
like me.
10 people?
Yeah, like 10 people around there. Mm-hmm.
You don't often see like 10 people in wheelchairs rolling together like that. You know, have
You
you
and their
seen?
team.
When they're a team. Yeah, I guess a good point when they're a team.
I'm just still thinking about it. Just thinking.
Two dudes in a wheelchair.
No,
Would you hook up with a girl in a wheelchair, you think? You think that
It's really not that different, honestly.
I mean,
It isn't.
I don't think it's.
I wouldn't know. I
You know what
haven't
it
hooked
is?
up with-
I think it's not so
But
much.
I take your word for it.
I don't think it's so much about. It's easy just to kind of like say the wheelchair thing because that's the object or whatever. But I think it's for me. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to act because I wouldn't want to make them feel more uncomfortable.
Yeah, you would like you also like you
know?
think you'd be like too polite and become off as like
Yeah.
you wouldn't
Because I'm a very like
You'd be like to a comedy.
I'm very like.
He and I were. We were both dicks to each other. I mean, it didn't.
Well, you're in college, yeah. That's what you are to everybody. It's a little asshole, you know.
When people ask me like if there was a difference between dating someone in a wheelchair and someone, I was like, no. I just think we were both very new. We both lost our virginities to each other. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
19 years old or whatever.
Yeah, I was like, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Of course, it was going to be a catastrophe.
I guess I would. I don't know. I
would wonder why they would want to date me. It's like, or anybody for that matter. But
if anything, the good stuff that came from that was it taught me a lot about just patience with people.
That's a good point.
Just being understanding, not necessarily just the situation they're in, but just patience, just waiting, honestly.
Oh, Randy to definitely date a girl now next in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
you're more understanding with how somebody feels just about either insecurities they have about certain things. I definitely feel more empathetic whenever I hook up with somebody now if they're insecure about things. And I feel like I learned that patience from him. I don't think I would have learned it before.
Oh, look at you.
Cool.
That's
growing. How's it going now, though? You out in the street now?
Sappy music needs to start playing now.
It's real shit.
Yeah. How's it going out there for you now?
It's terrible.
How's it dating? Yeah. How's it dating as a female comedian?
It's not my favorite. I try to avoid bringing it up if I'm ever on a dating app or something. I don't like.
Do guys get weird about that?
I feel like you guys don't have as much of a problem with it as female comedians do, only because as soon as I bring up that I do comedy, the first thing that comes out from them is either, oh, my friends say I'm funny, or I do this, or I tried stand-up once, or I almost did stand-up. It's this constant push to prove to me that you could do my job better.
Really?
Which is so annoying and demeaning.
I wouldn't have expected that, and that's also like a bizarre.
Yeah.
It's a weird vibe to start on a fucking if you're actually trying to just talk to somebody.
Every
it's
time they say that, I didn't fucking ask you.
It sounds a little combative.
Like I didn't ask you how funny you are.
They probably just.
I think it's more of an insecurity for them because if they're the funny dude of their group and that's like the only thing they have going with them, when you have somebody who does it professionally, they feel like, what can I really bring to the table?
Oh. Yeah, I guess it's a play on male insecurity.
But I don't need you to bring that to the table, though. I got enough for the both of us. It's
fine. Shots fired.
But the other thing too is I don't want to have to feel like I'm on the entire time. You know what I mean? Like as a comedian, you don't want to feel like especially if someone with your group of friends and your friend introduces you as that, you don't want to feel like you have to be on point the entire night. You want to be able to you don't be running bits by people to prove to them.
Have you done that before? I've never done that. I've
certain times. If it's like a big group of people I don't know and someone introduces me as that, only because now people are searching for the jokes. They want to see if you're really funny or not.
Really?
For me, it feels that way.
Yeah, I guess it's a whole dynamic that sort of prove it vibe is something that women would get a hell of a lot more than men because no one's asking me to prove anything. To
any,
at least I try to avoid.
If my friend tells them that I'm a comedian and I'm not funny around them, they're gonna be like, "Well, she must be a shitty comedian. She must not how does she get paid to do this, or how do people book her? She's not even that funny."
Yeah, but that comes with the territory, though. As being a comedian,
yeah,
you judge. I mean, that's just always gonna happen. People that don't know you, people who do know you, that's just part of it.
But then if I'm not funny around them, then it just furthers their stereotype in their mind of women aren't funny.
Sure. But I guess the bigger question is, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
you know what I mean?
There's an element of who cares, but I care.
Yeah. I think you just,
I wish I didn't, but I do.
So you do. You feel like a need to defend all women in this.
You do, because there are so few spots that.
Okay.
When you are at the shows, if you bomb, either you're not getting booked again, or now the person who's booking that show feels like, all right, maybe I shouldn't have booked a female comic. Maybe I should be booking less.
Less of them?
Yeah.
Less of them?
Even just a show 2 weeks ago, I won't say where it was at, but it's a place we all go. Anyway, and the person who was guest hosting it, I asked if I could do slide in for 5 minutes. He said, okay, great. Which was awesome. And then about towards the end of the show, he said, "Oh, there's not going to be enough time. That I can't get you on," which is fine. I'm happy with that. But my issue.
So you're doing a guest spot, basically.
Yeah, my issue with that was the show was 100% dudes. No women were on that show.
Was it an open mic or a booked? Sir?
It was booked.
Okay.
And there was supposed to be a woman there, but she did not show up.
Okay.
So if that time slot is available, and now you're filling it with your buddies. Instead of, you don't have to necessarily give a shot to a woman. I'm not saying that's required. But when I see that there are women in the audience who maybe don't want to hear the 100th dick joke for the night and might want to hear a different opinion,
sure,
that's when it bugs me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I mean, it's not. I don't think you're asking for a lot, but
I'm not saying
I'm
not saying it's like required for you to give me a spot.
I just wonder
because I have
about
a vagina. I hope you would give it to me because I'm funny.
No, I know. I just wonder
but
why you let it torture you so much. Like, why do you feel the need to I mean, I guess I understand it. It's just being,
you just feel excluded when that happens.
No, but I'm saying, but I feel like you take on even more responsibility for all women in addition to yourself. Like, not only do you feel bad for yourself,
sure if you talk to any other female comic, we all feel the same way. That we have to take on that responsibility, because if you don't, either you don't get booked or the next person doesn't get booked, and then you're losing spots all around.
Yeah, then everyone's losing. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a book show versus like an open mic type thing, I never could understand like when people who book shows and then how are they?
This show
what's their
in
approach to
particular-
booking
this,
it? You know?
This show in particular
that's
usually
question.
is
We've
a
spoken
giant
about it.
sausage fest anyway. I'm not saying it's
Sure.
it's normally super diverse.
Well, a lot of
But
fucking shows here are fucking
not
like
diverse.
It's a lot of. It's a lot of
fucking,
the
like-
same male comics. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
like,
like, it's
I like a lot of the people here. Some of them I don't, but you do see a very consistent wavelength of just people just putting on their friends, or it's just
they're a crew. They're
About that
crews.
show
They're
too,
crews of
I
people.
watched a guy who I don't normally see do comedy on there who bombed, and I'm thinking in my head, I could be doing that spot right now.
Yeah.
And that goes for any show. That happens all the time. But you feel it more when the show is 100% dudes.
Yeah, 100% white dudes, one after the other.
Yeah, and you know that you could have a spot there. And I also feel for shows, not necessarily you have to be booking women, but you have to change it up.
Well, diversity for me is always great.
People lose focus when it's all dudes, and you feel it too. Just as I feel it anyway. When I get on stage, you feel people look up, and they just, even if it's a tone of voice, you feel them look up and they change because they want to see what you're going to do that's different.
Oh yeah.
But that's how I feel.
I mean, we talk about that.
Definitely get mad about it. But
We've spoken about that in the context of black acts.
We don't give a fuck.
We've spoken about that in the context of diversity in terms of like having more black acts on stage at different shows around town. That we've seen. So, sometimes there'd be a lack of. It's like, wait, how come you didn't get X or X for this? Like, but I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, the approach, like,
there's no good mix. Some people just don't think about like you said, the actual mix of the show, the whole breadth of a showcase show.
Production, right?
Yeah, you want to have different acts on a showcase, or else it's not really a showcase.
Yeah.
Then it's just the same shit.
It's just. I don't know. I just look at it. I'm saying if I'm doing a show, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have this person, this person, this person. I gotta have this person from this perspective. I want to book this person from this perspective.
Yeah.
I want to have a woman from this perspective. I want that's just like.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like that's why a lot.
Because otherwise, each act sounds the same.
Yeah,
it literally does. Like,
it's part of the reason why a lot of women don't stick with comedy, because they're not getting booked. So, why are you gonna stick around if you're either not gonna get paid, not gonna get booked? And you don't have a place. There's plenty of open mics. I'm not saying there's not a place for us to do comedy.
Yeah.
I get it in all the time.
Yeah.
But I do see women who go up and then I never see them again. And it's the same. There's plenty of dudes that do the same thing, but I feel like it's definitely more with women where they either feel unwelcome or like they're not going to be able to make a career out of it.
I've noticed that. I've noticed where women don't go to all the, like, I'll see them in certain rooms, but not others because they don't feel comfortable in certain places.
You don't feel there.
I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah, I've been in. I had done I don't want to call him out, but
There's only, but it's, you know what? I mean, we're talking about
alright,
it.
you're on your way out the
We're
door, girl.
we're talking about
well,
it,
I feel like I
but
can talk about him just because he's such a ridiculous person.
Right.
So I went to, it was just an open mic too. It was the Hideout, and it was Tommy O'Deed, basically, where I had done stuff about dating people in wheelchairs, and I had been on stage. I was still very new, and Tommy O'Deed got on after me, and basically said, "Give it up for the guy who got to bust a nut in her."
he introduced you to it like that.
He just got on stage to go before he even started his bit. That's how he started it off, and now of course everybody in the room is staring at me, and I'm turning beet red, and he just kept on going with it.
Okay.
And it was just there's such an uncomfortability to it. I understand when I'm doing my stuff. Yeah, people are gonna talk about it, but to bring it to that level, I was very new, and I mean I have a thick skin, so I was like, whatever, I'll just maybe I won't come here for a week or two.
Did you say something to him?
No, I never brought it up to him just because I didn't think it was worth my time. To be quite honest, I was like, I was like, you're not worth my time at this point. I'm just gonna go to other shows, and Tommy and I are cool now, but starting out, if I were someone who was more sensitive to being on stage and hearing that, I mean, I said I wasn't gonna go to that show for 2 weeks. What happens to the girl who doesn't have a thick skin and is just getting started and is now mortified?
Well, that's
who doesn't go at all anymore.
There's certainly a chilling aspect to it. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely another side to it, which is that side.
The chilling. You turn somebody off to it.
But the thing is, this comedy game ain't all butterflies and fucking
no, I'm not
heaven.
saying
You
it
know
has
what I
to be
mean?
great. I'm just saying. I'm just talking about one experience I had where I
Yeah.
can understand if another woman was there that she might not want to come back.
Yeah,
if she doesn't even know what like comedy's about, and it's like this is her first experience.
Yeah.
And
especially come from Tommy, that old creep.
Yeah.
So
You know what? I mean,
makes sense.
my main demo is drunk divorce dance. So
Yeah.
that used to be a lot when I was first starting. I would get like the creepy hand on the back after I would get off stage.
Ooh, that's fucking weird.
The worst thing you can come say to me after I get off stage is either you're adorable or that was cute. That to me is the most disrespectful thing you can say to me. That's how I
What?
feel.
That was cute. What? Like
That was cute, or you're adorable, or something along those lines.
Why don't you just say it's funny? That's all.
Yeah, just.
I can imagine old suburban
It
like
negates anything you just said on stage.
I can imagine older women would say that to you, that's something like my grandmother would say for sure.
The thing is, whenever I've gotten that, it's always
some old dude.
Guys. And any time a girl has come up to me, it's usually something positive or something she liked in it, or just you were funny. And I'm not saying it's all the time. I'm sure there's girls who say she fucking sucked, and why is she on stage? I could do better. Which, go ahead.
No, are there any decent people? Have you been?
Oh, I've gotten. I mean, I'm not saying I don't get good feedback from guys too. I get that as well. I'm just saying, what the worst thing I feel is
that's
when
what sort of stings the most. Yeah.
Yeah, it does sting, and I've had it plenty of times to where I don't even, and then it's always the person who's heckling you or the guy who's talking in the audience who you call out during the show and say something funny to, that I then get a creepy message from on Facebook after the show.
Well, that's another side.
Yeah, have you been Facebook stalked on this thing yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's another side.
That's a whole. Because that's what I'm saying.
I'm sure they get more of that.
And
I'm
you
sure.
wonder-
That's
you
what
just
I'm wondering.
wonder how
That's
these
what I'm
people
wondering.
Found you to begin with,
Well.
but I had a guy at a show who
I usually stop.
was taping me for 10 minutes, which was ridiculous.
Oh, I think I was there for
You were
this.
there for that was terrible.
Yeah, it's fucking good. Yeah.
What happened?
So we were at the show and I was doing 10 minutes. I don't care if you're gonna.
Let's say Redbones.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say where it was, but Redbones isn't a show anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, it was one night, one thing. I mean.
But I don't care if you're gonna take an Instagram story or whatever.
Quick little
Snapchat,
thing, whatever. Yeah.
Quick little thing, fine. Do it, whatever. I don't know why you need to send that to somebody when you're in a basement in Somerville anyway, but that's your
And
choice.
in general, no comedian
That's
wants their
your
fucking
choice.
set taped. Unless they're the one taping it.
Yeah.
In general,
That's what I mean. And even if it was a quick set, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it, but I would deal with it. You just power through and you do whatever.
Yeah.
But when it's up to 10 minutes, you're like, all right, dude, who are you sending this to? Who really needs to watch this?
Right.
And,
Or why are you having this?
I asked him, he was like, well, I'm going to send it to my dad. I was like, well, I hope your dad tells you that you're a fucking loser for sending
come
this
like
to
a
him.
creep or whatever.
I was like, because he's going to be like, why are you filming this chick
Right.
in a basement in
For
Somerville?
10 minutes, yeah.
Go get a life.
Right.
Like,
Oh, if
Yeah.
he likes you, just talk to her after. Yeah, like
introduce yourself after the show. It's not like we're fucking untouchable.
I mean, that's part of the reason I like hanging with you guys, but that's part of the reason why I get out of there, because I get the creeps afterwards who then find me on Facebook and say, "Oh, I was gonna buy you a drink afterwards," or "Where'd you go?" Or there's a reason I left, because
you're sitting around,
creepy
lurking
dudes
around,
who stalk you afterwards and still find you on social media.
I that's definitely true. More so, I think that with men versus with men. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a comedian, you're a male comedian, whatever part of this industry is, you're gonna meet a lot of people, whatever.
I'm never mean to them. I just say thank you for coming to the show.
But men are way more aggressive about it.
But men are a little bit more. Men are way more like.
Especially when you get the ones where people say, "I tried to find you." I'm like,
tried to find you. That's fucking
like,
creepy as shit. Yeah, like, that means you really. Yeah, exactly.
And then that means you looked
hard,
and then spent the time looking up my name.
Yeah, you went to the dark web to find some shit. Like that's crazy.
Well, but on the flip side too, if you're a comedian, you're trying to do this for real.
At the same time, I'm also like, thanks for the follow.
Exactly. Get those numbers up.
Don't kill me, but thanks for the follow.
Right. Put my numbers up, please.
I'll tell you guys. So last night, it's not even about comedy. It's just a creepy dude experience I had.
That's what we're all about.
We're not about comedy on this fucking podcast.
I was going to get into your love life. Let's get into it.
I was walking back from a show last night, and I was almost to my house, and it was late.
Hannah lives at. I'm just kidding.
No, but I live somewhere where there's not a whole lot going on anyway. It's not It's not a bad area by any means.
Well, not Negroes. Get it. We're just kidding.
Minimal amount.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, so
don't know what that means, but go ahead.
So I'm walking and I look up from my phone, and now all of a sudden there's nobody else around, but there's a dude in front of me who's probably maybe like 15 feet ahead of me, and I noticed him because the car he was in had pulled over to the sidewalk and he had gotten out, the classic.
Let me get out the car and talk to the girl.
And he was looking at me. Yeah. So and the way he was looking, I was thinking, oh, he needs directions or he needs help. Something's wrong with the car. I don't know. I'd like to think the best.
Hopeful. Fucking
hopeful.
Well, that's what you want, yeah.
Anyway, that's what you want it to be. Yeah. Even though you feel it go down up, like you feel that wave of fear go up your spine. You're like,
your heart racing going up.
Yeah. So then I take out my headphones, he's going, oh, you're beautiful. And I'm not saying this to be some douche who's just like, someone said I'm pretty. No, I almost shit my pants, okay?
Which I want, before you even go forward, which I always just tell women, especially when I worked at the college, when I used to work at the public safety department, especially the young students, the girls, because it was in the city, I was like, do not fucking rock your headphones at night.
Yeah,
all the officers would tell and it's just like, but you're bored,
most of the time, if it's,
I'm not saying it's not their fault,
no,
but
no. I mean, if it's really late at night, I will have my headphones in, but I won't be listening to music. I just want to give the appearance that I'm not like paying enough attention to you for you to think that you can talk to me. Mm-hmm. And he starts saying, you're beautiful, and I say, thank you, with that awkward girl laugh when you feel like you're about to be murdered. You're like thanks. And you do, and then he kept going with that, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, obviously you're not interested in me. What? Not interested in me? You just pulled over on the side of a road. What did you think was going to happen?
I mean...
Obviously you're not interested. Did you think I was going to get into the car and be like, yeah, whisk me away from Somerville?
But
I wonder what the success rate is on catcalling. The success rate on catcalls has to be 0.01%. No. But men do it anyway. That's what I don't get.
Not true.
Really?
I think it's a little higher than that.
Really? You think so?
I think it's a little higher than that.
I don't know one dude...
Oh, not catcalling. I'm sorry. Catcalling is what's the definition of catcalling? You just holler at a bitch in
the street like that, like
hey babe, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not like with catcalling. There is an element of fear, but not in the way of when someone pulls over and goes out of their way.
Oh yeah.
And you're the only one around, and you're looking.
But that's all they used to do in like the 50s, and our parents used to be.
Yeah, that's also what a lot of rapes happen.
The 50s were no great shakes. You know?
Yeah, not great. Yeah. What a great time frame to reference
your rights were a lot less in the 50s. Yeah. your rights were, civil rights hadn't happened yet.
No, what I'm saying is...
So all that...
Well, yeah.
But he said, obviously you're not interested in me, and he starts to get back in the car, and I basically just said, I was like, which was stupid of me. I shouldn't have even said it. I was like, yeah, just trying to get home. I shouldn't have even said I lived in the area.
Oh, no.
I didn't think about it until after I said it. I was like, that was really stupid. I was like, if they follow you, now you're fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, and so he gets in the car, and I could hear him starting to talk to his friends. But what's so crazy is that we're conditioned as women to be not only be accepting of compliments, but then when he gets into the car and he starts talking shit about me, now I feel bad for being rude to him.
Really?
How crazy is that?
You did feel bad?
I did. I felt bad for saying, I was like, oh, he thinks I'm a bitch now, or he thinks this. And I'm like, why do I even feel this way? You're the one who just pulled over on the side of the road to practically almost kidnap me.
Yeah, that's yeah. See, that's the thing that makes that troubles me so much about the women's movement is the, like I said, that you feel guilty for all women. That you feel guilty for this guy.
It's so ingrained.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a really bad
and
loss.
You don't even realize how ingrained it is until you're in those situations. Like I was on my way to a show on a bus. It was the bus I used to take home.
Yeah. And
it was like second to last stop. This guy gets on the bus, barrels towards the back. There's nobody really left on the bus except for me. And he sits next to me. He asked if he'd sit next to me. I thought he was special needs, to be quite honest. And so I said yes. I'm like, I'm not gonna be mean to this person and tell them they can't sit with me, because on that bus there used to be a lot of special needs people, and they were super nice and they would want to chat with you, which is fine. And so he sits next to me, and I noticed that he starts opening up his legs, and he keeps opening them. So now at this point, I'm really up against the window.
Okay.
And now,
also, you're on the inside?
Yeah, I'm on the inside. So there's no way to get out.
That's not good. You don't want that.
And then now I'm basically pinned. Now he starts rubbing up against me, and it keeps going. And in my mind, I was trying to beat out him mentally. I was like, no, you're not gonna get to me. I'm gonna win this. Like you're not gonna do this. I was like, I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut. I'm not even gonna say anything, which is even worse, which is even crazier. Like anyone else who would go through that would be like, get the hell off me.
Right.
And so I did that. And what's crazy is that while this is happening, I didn't want to be rude to him. That's what's so nuts as a woman, is you just don't want to be seen as a woman in the world who's rude to somebody, or it's insane. So that kept going until finally I'd had enough. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, I'm getting up. And he basically just opened his legs up further and was like motioning for me to have to like crawl over him. And I didn't want to be in that situation either, because I knew I would get pushed down or something weird would happen.
Yeah.
And of course, this whole time I'm just thinking, I'm like, I really don't want to see a dick today.
Right. Well, it's
that's not at the top of my list.
I mean, and there was no one there that could possibly.
No, because we were further in the back of the bus, and so I don't think anyone could really see what was going on. So finally, I just yelled for him to move, and he did move out of the way. But then as I made my way to the front, he followed me. And so
Did you say anything to the driver?
I got to the front, I sat down, I made sure I sat on the outside this time. He sat behind me, he was breathing down my neck the whole time. Oh. And at that point, mentally, I was so... it happened so quickly that I didn't even know what to do, and I was just trying not to cry. And so when it came time to get off the bus, instead of talking to the bus driver and telling him to talk to that dude and really do something about it, in my head, it was fight or flight. And I was like, just run.
Just ran off the bus?
Just run off the bus, get to a car as quickly as you can, don't wait, just get out. Yeah. So I got to the car, and then I was just in tears. And, of course, my dad was picking me up, and my dad went full Batman. He's like, where is he? And I was like, it's fine, let's just go home. I just want to eat a grilled cheese. I just don't want to deal with it. But I did eventually file a complaint with the bus company, and I couldn't even get the paperwork at first for it. They weren't even sure exactly what I was talking about, but then when I brought it up...
It was an assault on the bus.
Yeah, I brought it up.
Pretty fucking simple.
Do you know what they first said to me? The bus driver for the morning, this is all they said. They said, don't sit in the back at night.
Yeah,
that was it. Not like, let's get you that paperwork, or I'm very sorry that happened to you. They just said, don't sit in the bus up in the back at night. It shouldn't matter where the hell you are on the bus. Like, the bus was full when I first got on, and it was the only place I could sit. Shouldn't matter where I sit to feel like, I guess this isn't the salt seat. Like, what?
Yeah,
what do you mean? Like,
unfortunately, there's just, when you travel, and it seems like you travel a lot by yourself. Most comics are like solo anyways, or if you travel, so you always have to be aware of your surroundings, you know? Even if you are aware of your surroundings, you never know what the fuck can happen. You have some creep coming up behind you, you know? It's just like...
Yeah, but I mean, their response was obviously insufficient, to say the least. I just can't believe
not taking accountability? Is that
Yeah.
new now?
What's crazier is when you...
Good point. Yeah, it's fucking no one does it. No one takes any responsibility anymore.
What's crazy as a woman is when you fill out that form and you know when you hand it to them that it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually how it works with fucking dealing with law enforcement. If you can't catch them in the act, it's too fucking, like, well, maybe next time. It's like,
I mean, I filled it out just because I was like, maybe, just maybe, if...
You gotta start counting. It's the thing, you gotta force them to keep count.
Well, not only that, but I filled it out so if this guy ever got back on the bus, another person doesn't have to deal with it.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. You have to, I mean, even if it seems futile, you have to, kind of like voting in that sense. Like, you gotta, like, even if if you think your one vote is meaningless, you have to do it. Like, you gotta do it.
You gotta still keep doing it. It's like that one time, like, if when a girl has a really bad fucking experience with a dude and like she says no and he does it, and it's like she doesn't go do something about it,
It is crazy because you always think as a woman that you will be the person who reports anything that would happen to you first.
But it's tough when you're in that situation, I bet, right?
Oh, yeah. It's because all you want to do is just forget about it. You just want to pretend that it didn't actually happen to you because you like to think that you would never even put yourself in that situation, that you wouldn't even let something like that happen to you. But when it does, you just kind of want to forget about it. But for me, I was like, oh hell no, you're gonna know about it.
See, it's weird. It's weird. It's like it seems like it's more.
Before I reported it.
No, but I mean, good for you for having the courage to do that.
Yeah. It's weird, like you said, like it's like that thing with like
it's the right thing to do. I mean, that doesn't have to do, doesn't always have to result in the solution to all the world's problems, but you did it,
Anyway, in lighter news, guys.
I know, right? In lighter news, we got from her dating into a fucking sexual assault. That was awful.
Sorry, I was just trying to get into that.
It's all right.
I don't know.
We touched on Me Too a little bit.
I mean, I can't follow that really. It's just you just kind of leave the stage with that.
Yeah. So who do you want to spit hot fire on before you leave? You want to start naming names? Let's go.
No, I don't want to trash me. The funny thing is that before I leave, I was thinking, I kind of want to hook up with somebody before I leave, just like something fun before I go. But then as I think about that, I'm like, how am I gonna?
We already established the Alabama thing.
But I was thinking about if I did that, but then I was also thinking, I'm like, how am I gonna explain to somebody though if I have them over, like, hey, what's with all the boxes?
Oh,
they don't care.
A guy won't care.
They don't fucking care.
This is for one for the road, guys. Guys love the one for the road.
See, Hannah does think about the wrong thing.
I had a few one for the roads in my day that were pretty funny.
Boxes. What?
But see, I always think about that, but then the time it takes for me to actually get that to happen if I were
to hook up with a dude?
It's just like if it's on
you just have to say, hey, I'd like to hook up.
I know, but especially
I'd like to sleep with you later.
On dating apps,
Fuck
I feel
you
like all
talking
the
about?
questions I get are like, what are your hobbies? What are this? Like, I don't fucking care what your hobbies are. I'm sorry.
What type of dudes are you fucking what?
Yeah.
Everyone asks me what my hobbies
If
are.
you just
and
said
then
straight up,
it's like
I'm
a
looking
game
to have
of
fun with a
20
dude for a week
questions.
before I go to New York, you'll have a line around the corner. You're like, yeah, I'll do it.
I had somebody was it last week or something? They sent me a message and they said, "Why are you single?" Which I always think
that's a
is
great
I
question.
always think that's a funny question.
It's a great question.
The only thing I said back to him, I said, "Why are you wearing an ankle bracelet? Get the fuck out of here!"
Oh my god, he was wearing an ankle bracelet.
Yeah, I
in
didn't
one of
realize
his
that because I was just going off of one photo to begin with.
So
I didn't
weird.
realize it until I had matched and I got into it and I was like, "Oh, this dude is just a picture of like his shoes and he's wearing a goddamn ankle bracelet that he's showcasing in his profile. That's a terrible sign."
It really is a terrible sign. The guy in an anklet. Oh.
Yeah, I told him, and yeah, I.
You should
I
probably
said
be on
that to him.
grind.
I
You should
said-
probably be on Grinder and
I
not
told him,
fucking.
and I was like, "Why are you wearing an ankle bracelet?" And he was like, "It's fashionable." I was like, "It's not. Get out of here."
It's fashionable.
I think Randy's the only one here that hasn't hooked up with any comics at all.
No, man,
Oh,
I've
we're
been
not
good.
gonna get into that.
Oh, we are. Okay, just how many? You don't have to tell us who. Just how
You're
many?
asking how much she's what?
How many
know if that's
male
worse.
comedians you
I
hooked
can't
up with? And you're not full on intercourse, just that you've had a romantic moment with.
Oh wow. If it's just a
Hannah
romantic,
having romantic moments.
if it's just a romantic moment, then I guess
Okay.
I had to think about it. I know that's
See,
terrible.
we start with the big number, and then we work our way down. So.
No, I'm just. But if you're just.
I know how you do,
going off
son. I know how you do, son.
If you're just going off of like people who I've made out with, or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
I'm just
Let's
I'm just trying to think.
Kiss or more, you know.
Like 4 people.
4. Okay.
What's up?
4 in a year.
That's a lot.
What was that?
That's a lot. Just kidding.
Okay,
Yeah,
people
just
like
kidding.
have made out with. That's not a big deal.
I'm just kidding, Hannah. I'm just kidding.
4.
Just have.
Any of them women? All men, or did you mix it up?
The women thing happened once, and that was
No,
not
dude,
for
it's
me.
women like women. It's a legitimate question. It's fucking Pride Month. You know, that's a legitimate question.
No, that was something.
We just said there's not that many women comics.
That was something I did in college, and I didn't do again.
You didn't enjoy
And
it?
It wasn't for me.
Not
Like,
into chicks
just-
at all?
I gave it a shot.
I know, you're missing out. More from me. It's fine.
I gave it a shot. It was with my. Hope to God my parents don't listen to this.
Was
They will. They're on
was
the
this woman in a
podcast.
wheelchair? Please tell me she was in a wheelchair.
No.
Oh my God, this would've been the best.
She was my TA.
What's
oh,
that?
Pinky. Nice.
What's a TA?
TA's teachers.
She's like, yeah, she was like kind of like the the teacher's assistant. She was kind of like, she would grade her papers and shit like that.
Oh, so you had an angle. There you go.
Yeah,
Had an angle.
You had
Anyway,
the grades.
Yeah, so
Well, they had an angle for sure.
it was a good experience.
It was a good experience.
It made me see.
It made you see what you really were into.
It made me
right?
well, not even that. It just made me see things from a different side that I hadn't seen.
Empathize with men a little bit.
Oh yeah. That sounds bad, and I'm not trying to give women a bad rap, but we kind of suck when it comes to this.
Well, that's the thing I say. Human beings are all fallible. You know, like
It's very-
when men and women are both
It was
equally
very
good, equally
interesting
awful. You know.
because I had gone over to her place. It was late at night. I had just been at Olive Garden because I'm classy.
Fucking the Olive Garden to
Garlic
it up.
bread.
So I
the
brought
garlic bread.
I brought my leftovers there,
Garlic bread?
and
Oh, you put the
her
Olive Garden
place.
leftovers?
Yeah.
Classy.
Classy lady.
The endless breadsticks. She put a few of those in the
Hannah's
box.
approach is always great.
And
It's always
so
good.
I went over there. We were watching TV, and she just kept talking and talking. And in my head,
Did you know it was going to be one of the, like, you guys know you were going for it?
I mean, it was late at night. Come on, like
Oh,
I
okay.
figured something was gonna happen.
All right.
And she just kept talking forever. And in my head, I could understand where a guy was coming from because the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, when are we gonna do fun stuff?
The fun stuff.
I was like, when's that gonna happen?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
And so finally, we had kissed, but after we kissed, she was like, "Do you feel anything? Do you feel anything?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like,
Do you,
it
wait,
was
wait,
like-
do you feel, oh, so she wasn't a lesbian at all either. She was just kind of experimenting.
I think so.
So you guys were both going for the
right
first
after
time.
she had said that, she was like, I gotta know, because obviously, like, the last girl who I was friends with, I was like in love with, and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh shit. I was like,
I just came.
That's kind of heavy, yeah, man.
yeah, it was a little heavy and like.
a little turn off.
But it was just as all this stuff was happening, I felt like it was a beautiful mind. Like I was seeing all the equations go past me. I was just like, I was seeing every like hookup I had ever had with a dude where I would never shut up right beforehand. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm like, I was like, I feel how you feel. I was like, and I definitely know how you feel afterwards.
So
'cause
you led the
I'm
charge. You led the charge in the makeout. You initiated.
Yeah, and things like kind of started to progress.
How far did we
but
go here?
It didn't go that far.
Yeah.
There was some boob action. That was about it. Which,
Nothing,
like,
nothing
boobs are fun,
downstairs.
like
Nothing downstairs.
No, only because it sounds terrible. I hope she never listens to this.
I hope she
And-
does.
She is.
I'll find her on Facebook, please.
We're gonna find her on Facebook.
And she, so I went to move a hand down there.
There we go.
There we go. That's what
And-
we're talking about. There we
and
go.
Yeah,
she was
that's-
like,
That's
and
exactly.
she
You brought the garlic bread over there. You
and
should
she-
do that.
Exactly.
you brought the OG in there. And so I went to do that, and I felt bad because she's like, oh, I haven't shaved, and I didn't mean to, but my hand,
God damn it! I hate when that happens.
But my hand literally just recoiled without even. I didn't mean to. It happened naturally. I was like, and I was like, and it was so late at night because
Did you get a touch of it before? Or
No,
not?
nothing.
Okay.
It was so late at night, and I was so tired because she wouldn't shut the fuck up. And
So she
and it was so late, so I was like half asleep anyway. And at that point, it was starting.
She
to
killed the vibe a little bit.
It was starting to become a thing where like if you can't even stay awake to do it, it's like, oh, this isn't even like worth it anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
and
I mean, for me.
so, but I mean, when you can't even keep
So-
your eyes open at that point, like is it really worth it? And
No, but I believe in doing your job.
hey, you know what?
Just-
I tried.
And
Like, I was ready to go down in the trenches. Okay?
That's what I'm
Like,
saying. So
I
you
was-
so were it not for her talking, would you have gone? How far would you have gone? Do you think?
don't know. I mean,
I would just. I mean,
I mean,
if I'm bringing the garlic bread over.
would you have gone down on her?
I don't know, and I only don't know because while all of this was happening in my internal monologue, I was like, so when does the dick happen? And I'm like, oh, it doesn't. I'm not into dicks. I was like, this isn't gonna work out. I was like, all right. And then after that, and also like a pillow had hit my eye, and I was like crying out of one eye. It was not a hot situation. It was just.
Oh my God.
It was a lot. It was not great.
Was she a good-looking lady though?
Oh yeah, she's cute.
You have a good taste in women?
Yeah, of course I do. Anyway.
I mean, I don't know. You like guys in wheelchairs, and I don't know what your
What
women.
does that have to do? Those guys in wheelchairs were really hot.
I know,
so.
but I don't know what your taste in women is. You might like butch women that I'm not into. I don't know.
I mean, no, she was cute, and the only reason I wasn't into it afterwards is because I had to be the spoon, and I did not like that.
You wanted to be little spoon or big?
I had to be the big spoon.
Oh, you wanted to be
and
little
I didn't
spoon.
like it. I like feeling dainty and ooh, like I'm a little like the little woman in the
Yeah,
situation.
how do they work that out? Actually, that's my
I
I
roommate.
don't know what the fuck spoons you guys talking about. What the fuck's a spoon?
What do you
like
mean
a
what's
big
a
spoon,
spoon?
little spoon. What's that?
What do you mean? What the fuck? You don't know what spooning?
You know what
What are you
spooning
talking
is?
about?
You know what spooning is.
We got a bigger
I've
issue
heard of
here
it. I
if
don't
you
know.
know
I don't know what
spooning
is it though. Like I've heard of it. I don't know what do you do?
It's when.
What?
Do you want to explain it to him?
Okay, so spooning is just when
Do you want me to get I'll get 2 spoons.
we just
No, for people keep saying, I just never asked.
we just go live right now and do a demonstration for Chase of what spooning looks like.
Live on spooning.
I mean, this is Ready Set Blow. I mean,
So basically, you have like
very simple.
when you're laying down with your partner, and
In this
and-
case, in her case, a woman. In this.
yeah. So you have one so say I'm facing this way, her back is facing to me
okay.
when
her
we're laying
back's-
down. That's spooning.
Like you hug from behind while
yeah,
you're laying
like
down.
I have one arm over
Oh.
her essentially, and that's spooning. Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay. Yeah. I don't usually do that.
So I would, yeah. So
You don't spoon the ladies.
Yeah, doesn't really get
to
that.
be honest, I'm not that big of a fan of spooning.
You're not a touchy feely person.
No, I want my fucking space at night. I'm sorry.
You're
I
all
need-
sweaty and hot. Like
I
you
need
showed up here all fucking
space.
still.
I need space, and I feel like there's this expectation put on couples. You have to like hold each other throughout the night, and I hate it because
Yeah, I
have a
don't,
hard time sleeping next to anyone. Even growing up, like when we would go on family vacations, if I had to like share a bed with my sister or something, it was a nightmare. Like you would kick each other out of bed. Like it would just one of you would nervously like roll over onto the other person. Like I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess
It is
I'm
nice.
pretty
not saying-
affectionate.
I'm
I'm pretty
not a
affectionate.
monster. Like I enjoy it for like 5 minutes, and then after that, I'm like, okay, get
Oh,
off.
like when you
get off
when
me.
you really
Like,
want to go to sleep.
Yeah, I want to sleep like a normal human being.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't want to have
yeah.
your hot ass breath in my face.
That is the worst when you just wake up
No
with the
pun
breath.
intended,
With the
about
breath on the
10
face.
minutes prior.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need you to breathe into my mouth like before I wake up.
Right. That's interesting. I just learned something interesting. Okay,
About
so
spooning?
it's like cuddling,
But
basically.
yeah, so I was.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's just-
For this situation,
Just
I
why
was the
people call
big
it spooning.
spoon, and I didn't like it. I like to feel dainty. I like to and then the next day, it was like kind of a weird vibe in there, and so I went back to my place, and my head was kind of spinning out of control. I was like, "What does this mean? What's going on now?" And I finally slept, which is great. And the day after that, she was like, "Oh, you left your Olive Garden leftovers here."
Oh, so you guys reconnected on the Olive Garden leftovers?
Yeah, I made her bring them back to me.
Did you guys-
Gangsta shit.
I know. Did you guys hook up again, or that was it?
No, we didn't hook up again.
Oh, she just brought you the fucking Olive Garden?
There you go.
I was like,
Class.
I was like, yeah,
Class.
bring
Shit.
that. I was like, bring that
Class.
stuff over. And
Yeah.
so
She
I
did
was-
brought two same
bring
guys
that shit
over.
Dude, I was a college student. OG was expensive at that point, and I was
Oh,
really,
gee. You, just,
I wanted that pasta, man.
you needed those garlic. You needed the garlic bread, the crusty garlic
Makes
bread.
me want to get pasta right now. After this.
I said, hey,
No doubt.
we'll fucking take you to Olive Garden fucking right now.
Go to the Olive Garden. Oh,
dope.
I'm
man.
not
man.
putting out.
It's all right. You know,
It's all right.
This one's on us. Don't
This
worry
one's
about
on
it.
us.
But so she brought me back my leftovers, and then so she was talking to me, and she was like, I had so many nightmares last night. And of course, in my head, I'm like, oh wow, was that good that you had nightmares about it?
Oh,
and
my
so,
God.
Because I'm egomaniac.
Oh, yeah. That haunt your dreams, baby.
Yeah, and then she was like, no, I just had nightmares that like my teacher, who she was TAing for, she's like, I just had nightmares that she would find out that we were hooking up. And I was like, oh yeah, that would be terrible. Like, And she's like, so I just don't think we can move forward from this. But at that point, I was already kind of out the door anyway.
Right.
So
just like now.
So after she's yeah.
So that was your one and only. That's it.
So
you're done with women?
after she said that, and I was like trying to pretend to be sad about it. It's so mean. But I was just like, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah, it's it's too bad. I was like, but no, I totally understand. Like I would never want to ruin like your career or whatever. I don't even remember what you said.
Your TA career.
Yeah, that bitch still gave me a B. Anyway.
Oh, you didn't get an A out of it?
I didn't even get an A.
But you got your Olive Garden back.
Yeah, but that was what was most important, because as I was walking back, she was like driving away, and I was like pretending to walk away all sad. Literally, as soon as that car was in the distance, I did like a jump skip in the air, and I got back into my apartment. I was holding my leftovers. My roommate was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I just had my first lesbian experience. It didn't go great. I'm not into it, and I got my leftovers back. I am good."
All right, there you go.
I was like, I don't have to worry about anything. We're done. I was like, I win.
Yeah. There you go. So I guess so it's good. We'll end this on an Olive Garden conclusion.
The lesbian Olive Garden experience.
Oh God, never what I thought.
You haven't talked about that on stage yet, have you?
I did maybe once or twice. I don't get into it that much, just because I feel like there's usually like some pervy dudes in the audience who get a little too excited about it.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd be one of them.
And also, it's not that exciting I mean, it's like, it's a funny story, but it's not that exciting of a story, like, of stuff that goes down.
But definitely a time that you can remember, this is crazy. Like, you're just like, oh, shit. Like,
I mean, I feel
Alabama
like
times.
there's so many other female comedians who are lesbians, and I kind of just like, I'm like, you guys have better stories. I'll leave it to you guys to talk about that. Like,
it's funny.
Olive Garden.
That's Olive Garden story.
I used to go to the Olive Garden in high school too. I killed the monitors. I killed the monitors.
Okay.
They were cooking.
Okay.
Still reeling about the Olive Garden.
I'm just thinking about the Olive Garden shit. No, it's like this. It's like
important.
I always remember you like it's in fast forward like with you deciding to like go to New York City to. Obviously, you got a new job. We know about that. And
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And then you want to pursue comedy too, I assume, right?
Yes.
You still want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in probably the best city in the world to do that. What's your expectation? Like,
What's next for you?
What's next for you? What do you want to happen in the next few years?
If I could do anything, I just would like to be on the road. That's it.
So you're a road comic?
Yeah, that's all I want to do. I just...
A lot of Olive Gardens and lonely nights.
A lot of Olive Gardens on the road, girl.
A lot of OGs on the road,
Coming to an OG near you.
How long have you been doing comedy? Like
a little over a year now.
Oh yeah, so you're
You have plenty of time.
But if I could do anything, that's what I would want to do. I just want to be... I would like to be on the road. Like, anytime I see other comics who are on the road, I'm not saying it's like the greatest conditions or anything, but it's that sense of you're on your own and your craft is how you're making your living. And
yeah, I mean, well, that's everything beyond that for me in this business was great. That's all I want is just to be a professional comedian, not have to pay all my bills with just telling jokes.
So, yeah, I feel
after
like,
that, I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah, I never think about if that's never something I think about in the future, like having a family or having a husband or whatever, all that stuff. I just want to be alone and on the road. Just leave me the fuck alone, and I can be on the road.
Right, 24, alone on the road.
That's really all.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, another thing. Maybe not.
Buy a gun.
Jesus. Oh, God. I think it'd be more dangerous if I had a gun on me.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely shoot yourself.
It would definitely be used against me before I used it on anyone else.
Imagine if that guy got out the car and just Hannah shoots him right away.
Oh, my God.
I just wanted directions.
Bang.
God. I just want to tell you you're beautiful. Get out of here.
So when do you start? Oh, sorry. I was wondering when you start on Sirius. When can people hear you?
I start, let's see, not this Monday, July 2nd. I'll say that, yeah.
Nice. July 2nd.
Couple weeks.
Yeah.
So when do you officially move? When do you officially go?
I leave next Thursday. Yeah.
Next Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got a week weeks worth of finding someone to get down before you leave.
for that
you got a week's worth.
For that one, one night of fun on the way out the door.
I think you should do probably like prime time. We'll talk about this after.
It's not even,
we'll tell you who you should be hooking up with after the show.
But it's not even that. I don't even really, at this point, it doesn't even matter to me. Like, it's a thought in the back of my head, but right now, I would so much rather spend my time with people I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
And friends I enjoy hanging out with and doing shows that I love versus having like a shitty one night stand.
Oh, I mean, that
You know what I
you'll
mean?
still have a lot of time for the other way.
Exactly.
It's our circle's very fucking limited, very small.
I'd rather spend it having like a good time with
That's
people
cool.
versus something that's
Yeah.
so pointless at this rate.
Like we I noticed like last year I think when we met you, we were like I think I said I was like something about Hannah. I was like, she's gonna do good stuff because like she has a good approach to the game, like in a good good energy about comedy. You know what I mean? And you're supportive, with like people, and you don't really find that a lot with people.
Yeah,
in
that's
general.
true.
And I kind of like point like I don't know if maybe I said it to Randy or maybe not. Maybe I was thinking alone to myself in the bathroom. I was thinking like I was like yeah, Hannah's like. Because I just like kind of know, I just have a good sense of about people, you know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, she's like different. She's gonna like, she doesn't belong here. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm serious.
She's too nice of a person.
She's like, no, just like she has like, there's something with it. You just need to, I feel like, you're something bigger than like Boston, you know what I mean?
It's funny that you say the bigger thing just because I always have this thing, it's not a mantra per se, but I just, anytime when I would start doing stuff or anytime it got really hard, like there used to be stories that I would report on for the newspaper that got really, really difficult because either I would have sources that would pull out on me or just like, and it was big stuff that at the time I thought was going to be huge for my career.
Mm-hmm.
And things either wouldn't work out or wouldn't do as well as I thought they would. And every time that would happen, I would always say to myself, there are bigger things. There's bigger things. And it would and anytime after that, either if I didn't get a job or even when I was at jobs that weren't going well, I would just keep saying there are bigger things, there are bigger things.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping even after this, even after the move, I'm hoping that I'll keep saying that there are bigger things.
Yeah.
And it helps me focus on the bigger picture and also not focus so much on whatever is going wrong.
What's going wrong? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have fun with it. It's a good time
Yeah,
down there. I don't know if you got to
I'm
party down there
excited.
before, but it's a lot of fun.
I'm excited.
lot
I'm
of
mostly
fun.
excited to
So brace yourself for that.
Not just for comedy, but I mean, my sister lives there, and I'm mostly excited to
Oh,
finally
that's right.
have time to spend with her. I know you guys think she's hot, and I know that's a whole other topic.
Nah, it's neither here nor there.
Oh no, I mean I'm going to New York next week. I'll definitely be giving you a call. I got some people in New York, girl. We'll hang out. We'll go to Olive Garden. I always remember this about you though, and I'll leave with this well, first of all, I wish you luck. Best of luck in New York City. But I always remember this, like when we did our show last year, Darnell Rawlings at Lap Boston. Hannah bought a ticket.
Hannah bought a ticket.
Of course I did.
And most comedians that we know didn't buy a ticket because they just know us and they know they can come off and just GP.
Now that I know what you were making, thank you for buying that ticket. Holy shit.
So I've always I always goes to approach with me, like how people do it the right way.
Yeah.
It's like you support people. It's like, hey, I don't know
yeah.
these guys,
You
but
put
these guys
your-
are probably doing something like I like or maybe whatever. I'll support them, and I bought a ticket.
Especially with I always try to do that, especially if people are headlining stuff. I mean, if it's like your regular shows around here that like, I especially don't have the money now, but when it comes time to support, I like if I have the money to be able to give it to that person. I'm like, I'd like to be able to buy a ticket just like anybody else.
Like a regular old
You know.
patron, yeah.
And do that, especially with that show. If it was for charity, of course I'm gonna buy a ticket.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you'd be surprised.
yeah.
I gave a lot of comps that when So
Anytime people do shows for charity, I like to hopefully give back.
Yeah.
Just because I feel
I'm just saying I recognize those things in people, and that's how I correlate who are really
Yeah, it's
good
sort of
people.
indicative of who you
It's
are.
indicative
That's
of who
good.
you are.
That's
Behavior,
good.
So thank you for doing that, and best luck out there. Thanks for coming on. This was
Yeah,
fun.
thanks. This was great.
Yeah, we'll have you on
Got
again, I'm
some-
sure.
some
Maybe next time
interesting
down in New York.
topics.
Where can people follow you? You're stalkers.
Oh God,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's at Hannah Comedian. If you would like to take me to Olive Garden, that is still on the table, and you can wheel me there anytime.
Dope, man. Dope.
All right, thanks for doing this, Hannah.
Thanks, guys. This
All right,
was great.
guys, that's it for this week. Actually, we got to do another one, dude. We got to do another one this week, but
Got a couple actually.
that's right. We got a couple coming up, but
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
stay tuned, guys. Where am I going to be? I don't know. I'm going to be in Pembroke Pines Country Club this weekend. Pembroke Country Club, in Pembroke, Mass.
Okay.
Really
And then,
cute.
Yeah, some charity thing. Yeah.
Sounds nice.
So I'm gonna be out there if you guys want to come to. It comes with a dinner, fancy dinner, which I'm gonna get.
That's a bonus, yeah.
You know, for me.
Anytime
exactly.
the show comes with food, I'm
Exactly,
there.
exactly. And then I'll be at McGreevy's tomorrow night, Wednesday night.
You could just follow me on my Instagram. I just got shit going on. I don't know.
I know we're the worst at promoting our fucking nonsense.
At Chase Abel, and you can follow this guy.
That's right, at Randy Valerio.
And
of
follow
course,
us.
Hannah
Email us too.
Comedian. Hannah Comedian.
Hannah Comedian,
Go
baby.
check her out. And email us, of course, rspodcast@gmail.com. rspodcast@gmail.com. We'll check them when we have the next solo episode.
Yes.
So we'll catch up with you guys. But thanks for checking in. Hannah, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great.
Give her a round of applause. Thank you. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.